sweating.
John McGinlay. Super John McGinlay.
It's Lord John McGinlay to you.
According to Jerry Taggart, Lord Mayor of Bolton.
Well, what Jerry says goes, you know what I mean?
You're going to argue with me, are you?
Oh, you're not going to argue with Big Jerry.
You've been after this one for months and months and months, haven't you?
We were starting to think you were just making it up.
Yeah, I've got John McGinley's number. Yeah, all right, yeah, of course you have. Fucking arsehole.
I've been keen on this one.
Yeah.
You know, my era watching Bolton.
Long time ago. Good memory then, don't you? You must be older than you look. or is it the other way around?
Even for the occasion.
Oh, what we got?
Here we go.
Still fits me and all.
I bet it does.
Still fits
I'm
me.
very much down.
I'm not looking forward to the bottom button.
Ready for this? Look at that, still fits.
You got his name on the back?
Oh, no.
Oh my god! What chance have you got?
I was impressed taking the shirt off and then you killed it, didn't you, turning around, you know what I mean? I was expecting the big build up there.
I tell you what,
Who sprayed that on?
that's taking a lot of pressure off my belly. That. Can you wear that every week?
So Chris, he's just took his shirt off. And what era is it? What year?
This is Premier League.
95, 96.
Yeah, 96.
Club issue merchandise.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without John's name on the back.
I'm impressed it still fits me.
Well, it doesn't really, does it?
I think that's debatable. You know what I mean? So pop his eyes back in.
You impressed?
Yeah. You're not comfortable sitting in it for the whole interview, are you?
He's taking off now.
This is
mate.
going back on now.
Yeah.
This is going back on and being buttoned up.
So the pressure's on you for your research, then, isn't it?
Well, like we said, it was
Just relax, mate. You'll be right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just relax.
Can I speak?
Eh?
He's
He's like like just in awe, aren't you?
the second greatest player ever to play for Bolton Wanderers as voted by the fans
Wow.
after Matt Lofthouse.
I'm not sure about that, like, you know what I mean? That's...
Just being
Oh,
modest.
the
Yeah,
fans have
it's-
spoken.
We don't want to embarrass.
No, but did Jerry speak? That was the thing. That's the difference. If Jerry says it, then fine.
I mean, the illustrious career, but would you agree your claim to fame is appearing on Phoenix Nights? The dwarfs.
Yeah, the dwarfs, yeah.
Did you get?
Did I get what?
Did they ask? Did the word you up about it, or did you just go with
Absolutely not. No. Listen, Peter Kay and Paddy don't have to ask anybody. They can just do what
Yeah.
they want. You know, they're top guys.
it? Have you seen that, Johnny? When they're outside the
The
pub,
dwarfs are coming in.
Oh, when they've come off the
Minibus.
minibus.
Yeah.
got McGinley on the back. See, they do it properly.
Yeah. Okay,
How far away then?
Mitsu Pasalani gets a mention in that.
He does.
In it as well, doesn't he?
He does. I think we were a wee bit disappointed, actually. We could have done maybe a wee bit of an appearance, behind the bar or something. You know? Yeah.
You could have been the one where I'm getting the word.
I think they're on about coming out next year with a film, aren't they?
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
next
Doing
year.
some
Something in
aye.
the movies, yeah. So
I've got to admit, it's my favourite.
Oh, we'll never be beaten that.
brilliant.
I think it's controversial, but I think it's better than Only Fools for me.
Yeah.
Do you think only northern people like it?
No,
Or do you think
across
anybody
the
can
board.
appreciate
I think
it?
across the board.
No, across the board.
I mean, when Peter goes on tour, everybody's sold out.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
He goes on a 50 gig tour and he's got to put on another 50 gigs just to keep people happy, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good screw as well. Like if you think if you're a band on tour, you've got all sound engineers, you've got lighting shows, and everything. Peter Kay just rocks up with a couple of balloons and a microphone.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Super.
So what we'll do, we'll get Peter Kay on a different show. Shall we talk about John's career? Fucking hell, it's trying to sell Peter Kay's fucking tour out here.
Anyway, that's that done. Yeah.
I seen a video this morning of your giving David Kelly a 10 count.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't it. Because they slowed it down. It was just a slap,
wasn't
wasn't
a
it?
good one. It was a sclaff, really.
You
for
make a
slap,
meal of
right. He did a wee bit, yeah. I think he did, and we obviously tried to get me sent off. I should have got sent off anyway, but there was a long story to that. There was the Wolves and the Bolton Wolves rivalry at that time was really good.
The Battle
you
of
know?
Burndon.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, every game. You could go back and tell stories about every game. There was always incidents.
Why did it start?
Actually, that was the start. That was the start. I mean, they hated me anyway, right? But that was the start. We had gone down to... It was the second leg of the playoff for promotion. So we had gone down to Molyneux the previous... I think it was a Sunday. One that we played on a Sunday, Wednesday, something like that. And we played there, and to be fair, they battered us. How we got away with a 2-1
Lost.
Yeah, we came out getting beat 2-1. Jason McAteer scored a goal, come off his shin, flicked over the goalie. We got away with it. We got out of there, got back to Bundon Park, a midweek game. Place, I mean, the atmosphere, the place was jumping. It was a special place, Bundon Park, you know, on a cup night, and that was the start really. And I was lucky enough. I got a goal just before half time, made it 1-1 made it 2-2 in the tie, and then into extra time. Ball came over to the back post. It was a looping header that came back the other way again. And I think it was Still, the goalkeeper, big giant of a guy and all, you know what I mean? He goes up, catches the ball, falls down, and I'm standing over him like that. You know, next minute, I get pushed on top of him. And as I get pushed on top of him, as I'm trying to get up, David Kelly's gripped me around the neck, and, you know what I mean, it's handbags in it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Just give him a slap.
Yeah, but the referee's within 6 yards. You know, so you can see the replay when it's on the telly. 6 yards, he's looking straight at us. There's nobody in front of him, nothing, you know, and he comes over and that.
You must think you're going.
I did. Oh, done. All I could think of was Bruce Rioch. Bruce Rioch sacking me. No question. I'm done. Sacked. Done. Finished. Honestly, yeah. You don't mess with Bruce. And I'm thinking, I can't play at Wembley now.
Yeah.
That's me done. I'm finished. May as well go and work in the building site
Game
again.
over.
You know what I mean? Done. So I'm now picking David Kelly up and saying, get up.
Yeah.
Get up. And
Do us a favour.
I've got his hand, you know what I mean? And then the ref pulls us over, took us aside, and he's saying, and I said, look, don't spoil a good game, ref. And we were right in the corner where all the Wolves fans were, and where like all the Bolton naughty boys were, you know what I mean? Where they all joined there. And I think that was the reason why, because I think the place would have just, there would have been a riot. There would have been.
What did he say to you, the ref?
He didn't say anything. He
Just showed you the yellow?
I just said to him, I said, look, don't spoil a good game, ref. And he pulled out and he went to Kelly and he showed David the yellow card. And I'm there waiting, okay, right, and you know, go back into the pot. And he just turned around and he went bump like that. And
So he must have seen Kelly grip you then? Because when I saw it, I didn't see it, but...
No, well, you did. He's gripped me around the throat, and obviously it's a natural reaction.
I wonder if he start. I tell you what, if I send either of these two off, one of them's not playing in the playoff final.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I think it was more the riot. I do, honest to God, I think it was more the riot. And poor Lofty, the mascot, was down in that corner at the time, and he got pelted with everything the Wolves fans had, and they could get their hands on. He got everything banged. Like, it was
6 foot lion getting the blunt end of it.
But serious, in them games, the atmosphere was unbelievable, and it could have went off at any time.
Do you know what I did like though? Obviously that and it would never happen today.
No.
When the referees pulled them both over, he shook your hand, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that today, people will be rolling round. They'll be. What would that be? 10-game ban. If you punch somebody now, it's a 10-game ban, isn't it? All right.
Well, I mean, but in them days, I mean, if you're honest now, it's a non-contact sport. You know, I mean, John, you yourself
Totally
and me.
different,
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't last 15 minutes in a game now, would you? I mean, you put yourself about, and you know, you had a big guy in last week, Big Jerry. You know what I mean? And even in training, you know, the abuse you take in training, never mind games, you know what I mean? But it goes both ways, you know. And as a striker, you walk onto the park. Well, in them days, you walked on thinking, I've got to get my bid in first here, because if you didn't get your bid in first, there's a good chance you'd have been carted off. So that was the case, and it wasn't dirty. It was just physical contact, you know.
Did you go through then? Sorry, like a research.
Yeah, we did.
Did you win that?
Yeah, we went through, got to the final, and we beat Reading in the final 4-3.
Unbelievable final, that one.
You go to that one?
I did.
Did you?
What age were you here now?
12.
12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't fruit shoots back then, were there? Off your tits on fruit shoots? Or?
It was, 2-0 down. Then Reading had a penalty, missed.
Yeah.
Keith Brannigan saved
To
it.
go 3-0 up?
2-0
3-0
down
up.
after 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, they came out, I'm not kidding, it was like playing Brazil. And they were unbelievable. We couldn't get within a yard of them, right? They were bop, passing the ball around, there's little triangles, worked their way up the park. They played unbelievable football. And like, we couldn't even get a breath, couldn't get near them. And I think about 29th minute, penalty. And that's it, you know, 3-0's done. Forget it. Keith Brannigan, unbelievable save. I mean, never gets enough credit for me. You know, because that changed, when you look at it, that changed the fortunes of the football club, changed the whole history, changed the path of the football club. And for him to make that save, gets in at half time, we sprinted off the pitch, you know, to get in there. we knew what was coming because Bruce was on the way in, and but we
trying to get as far away from him as possible.
I'm sure Big Jerry said that. You know, we had a dressing room there at police. We policed the dressing room ourselves. You know, and we got in there and we hammered every one of us ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We hammered ourselves
before he even came in.
Before he came in, and he knew that. He did it quite a lot. He always left us because he knew we'd be in there putting things right, and everybody took it the right way. It wasn't personal. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I need you next week. You know what I mean? And it's, you know, if I'm not playing well this week, the boys will get round and help you, and you'll help them next week. You know,
and you're all want the same thing as well, don't you? Promotion to the Premier League.
That's it. Yeah. But no, so we got in, sorted it out. Then Bruce came in. We were expecting the volley, and he was just cool. He just said, "Look, you've had a fantastic season. You've played some football. Why waste it now? Why waste it? Go out there. I mean, you've got 45 minutes now to put it right. Everything you've put in now, not just this season in your careers to get to this point, go and put it right." And to be fair, boys went out the second half, got to 2-2, went into extra time, got ourselves 4-2 up, and then Jimmy Quinn scored a goal last kick of the game to make it 4-3. But what a final. I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Some celebrations that night.
Celebrations, yeah. I mean, it's...
Did you in between getting to the final and the final?
Yeah.
Did you go away or anything like that?
Yeah, we went to Portugal.
Training or boozing?
No, one night.
Oh.
First night you get there, you're out a pint, well, a few pints, and then that was it. And you've got to remember at the time, we had injuries. Peter Shilton was our goalie.
How old was he then?
46. It was like 46, 47. He was our goalie. He was managing at Plymouth. You'd left Plymouth, obviously, and Bruce picked him up, took him in, and what a guy. Honestly, that trip, if I've got a memory of that trip, you know, it's probably the greatest goalkeeper England's ever had, when he's playing with us. You know what I mean? And surrounded by a rabble every day we sat round the pool and he would tell us stories and everybody would sit there mouth wide open. Honestly, it was just like unbelievable. He would just go through, because we had never, you know what I mean? What a man. Absolute gentleman. He must have been sick to death of us by the end of the week. But
Tell us another.
And that was it. And it was like, what about you know, like Maradona and all that, like, and, just for us it was brilliant, and it passed the week great. But that first night we were allowed a pint and we all went out, and you know, it's like, okay, go out, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock, be sensible. Yeah. So we found this little nightclub, and it was...
You always find one, don't you?
But it was out of season. We went in and there was lights on it and everything else, and there must have been about 8 people in it, right? So we goes in and it was like... So you've got the wooden floor and you've got the spotlights and everything else all going round, you know. And by this time I've got Peter. We've got 2 stools as goals, and I'm flicking bar mats and he's diving across the side in this nightclub. Do you know what I mean? So there's the greatest goalkeeper England's ever had, and I've got him flying about saving bar mats.
Get up, Peter, get up!
Yeah, Peter, come on.
Rebounds!
Quicker. Well, do you know, and like, so then we, obviously it's light by this time, we're traipsing in about 5 o'clock, and the next morning we were meant to be down on the training ground for 10 o'clock, so everybody's going, down we go. You know, we had to walk down this hill to get to the training ground. And then we're all sitting there, and then the boss comes down, fresh as a daisy, you know, and everybody's sitting around there listening. Next minute, it's like, you know, just going through everything, what we've done this season and everything else. Then he turns around, and that man there, Peter Shilton, unbelievable, what a pro, what does. And I'm sitting there going to myself, you know, if you'd seen him last night, trying to save these bar mats, you know, you might have changed your mind, but no.
So did he like a drink then, Shilton?
He did. He liked a drink, but in a good way, you know what I mean? He was just so accommodating. Like I said, he must have been sick to death of us, because we were like wee kids just sitting round him asking him, and he was like... But he was brilliant. He really was.
Bit of a masterstroke from Rioch then, isn't it? Bringing him in just off the pitch more than anything.
He played. He played in that first game at Molyneux.
Right.
And he played in that game, and
he's still class like.
Well, I mean, obviously years had taken its toll. You know, he could anything close to him, he was still good set of hands and everything else. But I'll tell you what, if you'd put things in the corners and that, you know, the big fella probably struggled to get down a wee bit. And you know, after having to tie his laces to get him on the park, you know what I mean, he was all right. But
that's mad. 46-year-old man.
I mean, just shows, you know, he had kept himself in reasonable nick, you know, and still to be able to go out and do that. I mean, he helped us get promotion. You know, there's no doubt. So,
how'd I seen some was it when Rioch must have gone to Arsenal. He said to Ian Wright that he needs to be more like you.
Yeah.
He needs to play more like him.
Yeah.
Quite a compliment in itself, isn't it?
I don't think he was too happy about that. I think it was who? You know, it was one of them. But no, I think Bruce obviously had his ways. You know, we were different. You know, as a team, as a club, we were different. Bruce ran the club from top to bottom, and you know, people were frightened of him in a good way. You know, and I think the methods he had worked with us, but maybe not necessarily worked with the Arsenal boys. You know, you had to remember they were going in
bigger personalities,
bigger egos, bigger personalities. You know, top England internationals. You know, top of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and I think probably the boss has gone in there and maybe said a few things, maybe he regretted afterwards as well, because you know, there's no reason why they had a good manager. They had a good manager.
Was he good?
Oh, he was fantastic. He was the best manager I ever played for, hands down.
Even though you were scared of him?
I don't necessarily say I was scared of him.
Just respected him.
Yeah, not in public anyway. But no, listen, I had a huge respect for him. And he was the type of man where when he walked in a room without saying a word, people sat up. You know what I mean? They sort of straightened themselves, whatever they were doing, they stopped and right. You know, and that's respect, that's presence. He doesn't have to say anything.
They obviously had no respect for him at all, because Ian Wright gave them an ultimatum: get rid of him or get rid of me.
Yeah, but it was more than him. You know, Tony Adams, a group had got together and had gone to the board, obviously, and there's no way in the world one person against, like we said, established internationals at the top of the game. There was only going to be one winner on that side.
Basically, the lads got him out.
Yeah, it was player power that got him out the door. And you got to remember, he was the one that brought Bergkamp to the club.
Was he?
Yeah.
Do you think
David Platt, Bergkamp, he was the one that signed them.
Do you think like the reasoning behind that is, like you said, he had so much respect, and walking in a room he demands that respect, but then when you've got these big egos and you've got Bruce Rioch demanding that respect but coming from Bolton, and they're maybe not having that initial respect anyway because of where he's come from. He's going from Bolton, who've only just been promoted. He's coming from the Championship to Arsenal, and we've just had George Graham, and we've won European Cups.
I think also you've got to understand that he's gone in there to change a philosophy and change the way they play as well, because the boss played football. You know, he played a 4-4-2 system. It was pass and move all the way up the park. There was no back to front, and it wasn't the case of boring Arsenal, you know, trying to keep a clean sheet. No, he wants his full backs getting forward, overlapping, and he wants people playing football. So I think there was a mix in there of him trying to change the philosophy, changing the players. I mean, for God's sake, you know, to have Bergkamp coming in the door, I mean,
what a signing.
Probably one of the best players I ever played against and seen live, you know what I mean? I mean, that guy was just on a different planet. Unbelievable. But again, you know, the boss's training and everything, we worked hard in training, there's no doubt about that. You know, we all liked the night out, we all enjoyed ourselves, but I tell you what, we paid the price on a Monday morning for it. The boss.
What about Thursday morning? You used to have Tuesdays?
Well, the boss knew what I mean, you know, Bolton's a big town but a small town, you know, and he knew everything that was going on, and he knew when we were out, he knew when we weren't out. And
did he ever say anything?
Yeah, he would pull you in. He had different ways of doing things, you know. I mean, he was great. He was a great guy for fostering a good atmosphere, you know, and he, when you walked in the morning, and if he was walking past you in the corridor or whatever, and you know, he said good morning, and you know, how are you, and he would, if you said okay, and he'd be like, okay, fucking hell, you wipe the wall with you know what I mean? It was like, do you realise how privileged you are to be a footballer? Okay, you should be top of the world. All right.
I was right last night, Gaffer.
Yeah. You don't know, my head's banging here. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to put a smile on to appease you. My head's banging. But no, it's like, oh, wonderful boss, thanks. Yeah, on you go, you know. And other days you'd walk in and he'd walk straight past you. So then you'd go in and you'd go to the boys.
He's raging.
He knows something. What have I done? You know, and then now you're trying to remember where you've been and what you've done, and you're going, somebody's phoned him this morning, I guarantee you that, right? But that was, if they had, who knows? If they hadn't, who knows? But you'd go out then and on the training ground, you'd be like, You know what I mean?
So it was probably intentional, just to get a bit of a reaction.
Games. Yeah, it was reverse psychology. It was mind games, and he was brilliant at it. And he knew the guys he had on toast with it as well, you know what I mean? And the boys would come in.
He'd have me on toast, I'd be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my big pal, Tony Kelly, he had Tony on toast, right? I mean, Tony will admit he is the only manager he's ever been scared of. And Tony had a weight problem. And
I feel your pain, Tony. I feel your pain.
Tony had a weight problem, and he got weighed every Monday and every Friday, right? Now, if he came in the Monday after a weekend, and he was overweight, he got sent home, not to come back for the rest of the week. Got chucked, that was him, done. Now if he made it through to the Friday, he got weight, and if he was overweight again on it, he got chucked home, right? So that was him. That kept him on the straight.
That is ruthless.
That kept him on the straight and narrow.
You've never been in?
I'm having extra puddings on my dinner. I'll see you tomorrow about 12 o'clock, love. I've got week off, get fucking flights booked.
So poor Tony would come in, right, play the game on a Saturday, be coming off the park, and he'd be like, right, and all he would do all weekend, white wine and soda. He wouldn't eat. The whole weekend, he wouldn't eat. He was scared to eat. Right?
You always find a way, don't you?
But it was a case of this. It was like, what, food or drink? Right, well, so it's got to be the drink, right? So what's the best way around the drink, right? So that was meant to be not lying so heavy on him, you know what I mean? Just wine and soda. So he would come in on a Monday morning, and we'd all be waiting there, right? And he'd come in, and I'd do the book. I'd be running the book, right, boys? Right, I'll have a fiver on him. He's over or under. What is it? What? Do you know what I mean? So he'd come in, and I'd be like, right, wait up. Give me a clue, you know what I mean?
If you had a big weekend, I can put you out to 5-2.
But I tell you what, it was always that close. Where I mean, it had to be Everton. You know what I mean? He nothing. He couldn't afford an ounce. You know what I mean? So he'd go in, and we'd all be waiting there, right? And the physio had to weigh him, and then the physio had to go in and tell the boss if he was good or bad or whatever, right? So we'd be waiting, and they'd be like. So in the meantime, right, so we'd be in getting the weighed. As he's come into the ground, his boot boy would have been nipping across the road. There was a great pie shop and that across the road, right? Because he hasn't eaten all weekend, he's like, I'm starving. I could hit the steering wheel this morning, you know what I mean? So his boot boy's gone across the road, got him a couple of pies, big bacon and egg roll, you know what I mean? And he's waiting outside next to the dugouts at the ground. So again, we'd all wait. They come in, get weighed. You just see this flash come past you, right? Fucking shorts, flip-flops, t-shirt on, out the dressing room door. Give them 5 seconds, right? So 1, 2, right, all the boys sneak out down the side, and then you go, sneak round the corner. You'd be next to the dugout, inside the dugout. Egg all running down his face. you know that look on your eye when you're like
satisfied.
Oh, you know, like you've been busting for a shite for about 2 days or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And he's done it, and he's like, you know. So that was him, and it was the same story. And then the rest of the week, same story.
Start again then.
And weighed on Friday, you know. But do you know what? Best football probably he's played in his career. Yeah.
Was he starting? Was he number 1?
Yeah, he was in the middle of the park. He was.
The thing is, you know, when you think about, like, obviously back in the day, maybe not as much, but like, as you know, I'm not a sports science guy, but the worst thing he could have done, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? Starving yourself from Saturday after the game until Monday after your weigh-in, and then probably Wednesday,
in terms of recovery and all that.
Wednesday, Thursday, starving yourself for Friday. Yeah. You're fucking killing yourself, really, aren't you?
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, Joe, but you did have a choice. You could have had food if you wanted. Do you know what I mean? He chose the drink. He chose a liquid diet rather than the food diet. So really, it was. You know what I mean? Yeah.
We used to like York when I went to York first time. Used to get weighed every Monday. Then, like, we used to just nip to McDonald's for a big breakfast on the way to training ground every Monday. Fish and chips
after
Thursday.
After the weigh-in,
you get your weigh-in, job done. Fish and chips on a Thursday.
Clear, lads, we're clear.
Yeah. Did the physio ever look after him then?
He did.
Ouncier?
Well, the physio was scared of the boss and all, like, you know what I mean? But no, he did. I mean, listen, everybody knew how hard he was working and hard he was doing, you know what I mean? But he was good. And a couple of times the boss took him in one day, and he tells a story now, Tony. The boss took him in one day, and he was expecting he had done something off the charts, you know what I mean? He was expecting to get his arse kicked right out the door, and he's gone in, and the boss had this big china teapot out, and the China cups were out when he went in, and he went, all right, here we go. So he sits down and he's poured them, and he's looking at it, he's going, that's weak tea, that. So he sat there in the boss and he goes, here, taste that. So he's like, oh, that's all right, that. Yeah. And he goes, what's that then? He goes, that's champagne, you know, like that, to him. Right, so he had a bottle of champagne in the big teapot, poured it in. Right, so he's drinking champagne, he's sitting there, and so he's given him the talk, you know, he's given him the talk he needed to give him. But then he turned around and he says to him, have you ever seen a fat jockey? And he goes, no. He goes, that's what they drink. That's what he said. So he was basically saying to him, yeah, have a drink, but just don't go stupid. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he said,
I'll drink champagne.
So, yeah, but he also did say, and this stuff's not for you. There's stuff £9 a bottle down in the shop. He says, this is the good stuff. He says,
white wine and soda for you, son.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you need to be drinking. That's what he said to him. You know what I mean? So, although we say he was dead strict and everything else, there was a bit of come and go as well with him. Yeah. But we needed it, you know, because it was a strong dressing room, strong characters, and I think when you've got that mix, you need somebody even stronger looking down on you. Yeah, do you know what I mean? If not, you take over the place, don't you?
Yeah.
And but no, he was different class.
Who was the strongest amongst the bunch there? Obviously, Jerry Taggart last week. Saying he liked to get out on the town and whatnot. Was he a ringleader?
I think there was a few ringleaders, probably myself included, actually. Yeah, and but again, probably the final save, the big man said, we're going this way, we're going that way.
So you had a little bit of an input, but as soon as Jerry said we're going there, we're going, you went there.
Down.
Yeah. But he would, like you said, well, difference being if I went to Leicester, I'd expect Jerry to show me around, you know what I mean? Whereas if he's coming here, then probably he expected me to show him around for a while.
As you talked about before, going back, you're going to be back on the building site.
Yeah.
We've had a few lads, haven't we, who've kind of made the progression through the leagues at a later age. So were you like 25?
I was 24 when I went to Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
I was 24.
So were you just in the lower leagues in Scotland before that? And
no.
A little spell in New Zealand, right?
No, I was...
Research.
Yeah, fuck it. This is your second best player ever. This
mate, yesterday.
second best player ever.
Yesterday, 7 hours max, and I got to sleep.
Right, I started in the Highland League.
Yeah.
I made my debut for my home team town, Fort William, at 14 against Elgin City.
14?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And we got beat. I think it was 4-0. We got beaten that, right? But the town I came from wasn't a football town. It was a shinty town. Shinty's a game with a stick. Yeah, you wouldn't have never
heard of it.
Shinty, right? It's a tough. There's no way in the world I was playing it. Put it that way. It's a tough game, right? All my relations, my uncles, and everyone else played it, and they were good at it as well. But in that town, it wasn't a football town, and if you wanted to progress, and you had to really go somewhere else. I played for Nairn County. I then went to New Zealand for a season. I played out there for a season.
What quiet out there, were it?
Quiet?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't quiet.
Oh.
I lived
Find a nightclub.
I lived just outside Auckland. Auckland's a wonderful city. Beautiful city, actually.
And what age are you when you moved to New Zealand?
20.
20.
When I was out there, I probably cried for about 3 months when I first went there. First time I'd ever been away from home. And going from such a small place up in the Highlands of Scotland and then ending up in New Zealand, and I just wanted to go home, but you can't just pop home, do you know what I mean? So it took me 3 months really, and then after 3 months I sort of settled in, and then I really enjoyed it for the rest of the season. And in fact, towards the end of my stay, they tried to get me to stay. They wanted to get me citizenship and stay there and make it a home.
It.
I did actually, yeah, because that was in '84. In '82, in the World Cup in Spain, New Zealand were in the same group as Scotland, and I went to the World Cup, right? And there was 5 boys that played against Scotland that played in my team.
And you're thinking.
So I'm thinking, whoa, there's World Cups and there's all. No, there was a Kevin. I'm trying to remember names. I can't remember last week, but they were honestly, they were good boys, and I'm thinking down like, wait a minute here, they played in all the big tournaments and everything else. So yeah, but then they got to a point where home. You know what I mean?
Did you have a missus in that? Did you have a missus?
No, I was on my own. It was good though.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was, but no, the people are really nice, lovely. I mean, for me, this was a big time for me because it was a national league. You flew to all the away games. You had like travelling gear, Adidas travelling gear, and all that. You know what I mean? You were like, oh. I'd come from like, you know, washing your own gear and do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was fantastic. So that was good. Came home. I actually came home and I signed again for Nairn County. That was part of the reason they let me go if I came back. I signed. So I signed for them. And quite quickly, I got a trial at Sunderland. I scored a lot of goals when I came home, and I got a trial at Sunderland. Went down there. Stayed for a month. I felt it went all right. People thought I was going to get taken on, but I didn't.
Who was manager then? Sorry, John.
The manager was Len Ashurst. Frank Burrows, a big Scottish guy, was his assistant. And at the end of the month, Frank Burrows took me aside and says, "We're not going to take you on. We've got a striker in the reserves that you played alongside, a guy called Paul Lemon, and he was an England under-19 international. He was 2 years younger than me at the time, and he said we're going to go with him because he's 2 years younger than you. Whether it was bollocks, I don't know, but I mean." But I kept an eye on Paul since then. Do you know what I mean? Because you just do, don't you? Yeah. And I've met him on the road scouting. He scouts now, and I've met him a few times on the road. And he's a right nice boy as well. But
did he get a bad injury?
He did. But he was a good player. But so then I went there, didn't make it there, went back to Fort William, and within a week I got a phone call. I got a phone call from Jerry Gow, who was a Scottish midfield player, played at Man City, Bristol City, curly hair. He was a hard man. Played in that FA Cup final against Tottenham, you know, when Ricky Villa scored the goal. Yeah. Well, we left Jerry on his arse. Scored the goal. But
you mentioned it when you see it.
Yeah. But Jerry was the manager at Yeovil Town, and what had happened?
I'll tell you what, by the way. Fucking the Highlands of Scotland to Yeovil.
I know.
That's a stretch. You might as well go to New Zealand.
New Zealand's fucking brilliant. 20 minutes closer.
Probably I felt at home, you know, a small place. But no, a coach at Sunderland used to play for Yeovil and recommended me. So I got the phone call out of the blue and says, "Would you come down?" And I looked at it, and this was the end of February, and there was only a couple of months to the end of the season, and it was a conference. It was at the time it was a Gola League.
Yeah.
And in fact, the week before, I replaced Ian Botham. Ian Botham was a striker for Yeovil.
Give a hope.
Yeah.
Beefy.
Yeah. He was a striker for Yeovil. He played for Scunthorpe as well.
Did he? He played for Scunthorpe, yeah.
He was decent.
He didn't fuck about, me. No.
Did you not know that? Big man scored goals. He was all right.
I think
scored goals.
I think he played. Did he not play football before cricket?
I think he did.
He played for Scunthorpe.
Professionally, like.
Yeah. Scunthorpe were a league club.
Yeah. But his mum, he came from Yeovil. His mum and dad lived in Yeovil, so he ended up playing there. So he was going away, I don't know, West Indies or wherever it was, on tour with the cricket and all that. So he had to pack the football in. So I replaced him. So I went down. I played till
both from out McGinlay.
That's the claim to fame. I take that.
Hey. So I replaced him. Stayed till the end of the season. They got relegated, but I signed a 3-year contract. And that was it. So I stayed there for 3 years.
Did you do well there then?
I can't believe you didn't know that about both of them.
When you mentioned Scunny, that rang a bell, but I didn't know he was like I thought it might have been a youth team and got released or whatever.
Well, same professional at Yeovil, he would have got 100 quid a week or something, 150 quid a week, you know what I mean? So, but no, he was all right. As long as somebody did his running for him, he was all right. You know what I mean?
I know that.
I'm not having a dig.
I know that role.
No, but so that
did you feel homesick at Yeovil, even though because I mean you must not have got back very often?
No, but I wasn't there very long actually, and I met my wife there.
All right.
And my 2 oldest boys were born in Yeovil, so that was, you know, helps you settle down in it. But I enjoyed it there. I had a great time there. Really good,
and you did
good
well.
People. I did well. Scored a lot of goals there. Jerry, in the meantime, departed. Jerry took over at Weymouth. He moved to Weymouth. He took over there, and a quick one. A guy came in, a London guy came in. He was an ex-policeman. Brian Hall was his name. and he managed Wealdstone when Stuart Pearce and Vinnie Jones played for him there at Wealdstone, and he came in, and I didn't see eye to eye with him, so I left. And the agreement was if I went back to Scotland, I could go for nothing. If I stayed in England, they wanted probably 70 quid for me or something. You know what I mean? So I went back to Scotland, and I played for Elgin City. And in the meantime, went back there. I scored a lot of goals quite quickly there. Jerry had got the Weymouth job, and Jerry wanted to sign me. So
geographically, by the way, Weymouth's like
down
half an hour down from Yeovil.
Yeah.
It's even fucking further.
But a nice place, all right, lovely, a beautiful place, Weymouth. So Jerry had wanted to sign me. The club had agreed £20,000. So he flew up to Inverness. I went and picked him up at the airport, drove him back to Elgin City, and they were having a board meeting in there, waiting for him coming and everything else. Drove in. As we got out of the car, got into the stadium. As we're walking into the boardroom, the secretary popped his head out the door and says, "Hey John, can I have a quick word?" I went, "Aye, no worries." So Jerry carried on into the boardroom, and this is no word of a lie, he sat down, he's got all the papers out, transfer forms, he's got a banker's cheque for 20 grand, banker's draft, he's got his briefcase, all there, he's all sat there on the thing. Well, the secretary pulled me in and he goes, "McNeil's been on the phone." And I went, Billy McNeil, manager of Celtic. Celtic was my team growing up, right? He went, "Billy McNeil." He went, "No, Ian McNeil." he went, "No, Ian McNeil, Shrewsbury." So you've gone, oh. Well, initially I went, "Billy McNeil." No, Ian McNeil, Shrewsbury. I went, "All right." They went, "He wants to sign you." I went, "Yeah, but I'm going to sign for Jerry." Jerry,
Weymouth, for Weymouth paying 20 grand, that must have been a massive.
Yeah, it was.
Like a massive.
Yeah, it was a lot of money for them. Yeah. And they were giving me a lot of money as well, and they were going to give me a flat, a car, and you know what I mean. So they pushed the boat out. So, but then you're looking at it, conference, and it was a championship. Shrewsbury won the championship with Chelsea, Leeds United. No, they were all in it at the time. So, like that then. What would you do now? Oh, he wants to speak to you on the phone. I was like, fucking hell. So, phones him up. "Mr. McNeil." "Yeah." "John McGinlay, how are you?" "Good." "I've got Jerry Gow here waiting to sign me." He goes, "I know, that's why I'm on the phone." I went, "All right." So he says, "I want you to come down tomorrow morning, sign tomorrow morning." I went, "But," I said, he says, "Nah, don't be, come on." I said, "Well, listen, I'm not coming down on trial. I'm not." And he says, No. It's just, come down, sign the contract's waiting on you. Come down, Did
he tell you the figures, or?
I didn't even ask him about nothing, no. So I thought, fucking hell, what do I do now? And in fact, then I'm thinking to myself, my car will never make Shrewsbury. I had an old Ford Capri, honest to God, I had to bump start it every morning, and I'm thinking, there's no way that's going to get me to Shrewsbury.
I've got to take him back to the fucking airport.
Yeah, I've got to take him back to the airport. I've got it then, how am I going to get to Shrewsbury? It's like, and all these things are. So I said, "Give me 5 minutes." So I went back into the boardroom. I went, "Jerry, I said, excuse me," I said, "can you give me and Jerry a couple of minutes?" And they went, "Okay." So they all, up there it's a committee, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like typical non-leaguish sort of thing, committee thing. So they all left, Jerry's sitting there, and I said, "Jerry, I'm going to sign for Shrewsbury." And he went, "The fuck are you on about, like, going to sign for Shrewsbury?" I said, "Well, Ian McNeil's on the phone there." I said, it's Championship football, Division 1 football." And he went, "No." And then he said, "Well, we'll give you this, we'll give you more." I said, "Jerry, but it's not about that, it's about league football." But he says, "You'll get league football words." I says, "Yeah, but will I?" Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's league football, there's a chance of league football. And he goes, and you know, it went on for 2 or 3 minutes, and he stood up and he went, yeah, he put his hand out, shook my hand, he says, "Well, listen, all the very best, as long as I get first shout if it doesn't work out, you know."
Did you make him get a taxi at the airport?
No, so we went then and had a night out.
You had to push the Capri, didn't you?
We went then.
The Capri.
So then I took him in to see Elgin's finest hostelries, you know what I mean? So we had a night out, got up in the morning, took him to the airport, you know, and again, on the way to the airport, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" You know, and that was it, you know, and I had to drive then to my mum's down to Fort William, give her my Ford Capri, which you couldn't even see over the bonnet. You know, if you ever seen it, it was unbelievable. And she gave me her car to drive down to Shrewsbury.
So you'd not even sorted the contract out?
No.
That was a risk in itself, isn't it?
I just wanted to play football.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I mean, Jerry even knew that. When Jerry offered me this, I never
Didn't
asked
matter.
for nothing. No. Went down, and this is the kicker, really, right? He was clever. Ian McNeil, I owe him everything because he's the one that really gave me my opportunity, you know, in league football. And I drove down to see him, so he's there waiting on me. Goes into the office, and he goes, "Oh, just waiting on the secretary coming over." He says, "We've got all the forms, everything else sorted." And he goes, "We're going to give you this, give you this, give you that." I went, "Fine." He goes, "So we're just waiting on the secretary. I don't know where he is. He should have been here by now." He says, "But I'll tell you what, do you fancy just nipping in and putting some gear on?" Right? I said, "I've no boots on ever." He said, "My boot," and he went, "No, we'll sort all that out. What size are you? 9s?" "Ah, no bother, son. Aye, come on, in you go." So I was into the dressing room and I'm sitting there, I'm putting kit on. I'm going, "What am I doing here? I just drove for like fucking 8 hours, you know what I mean?" And I'm like, "I just want something to eat." And he goes, "No worries." So I put the gear on, walked out onto the pitch. There's 2 wingers each side. There's 2 bags of balls each side. There's 2 goalies. Right? And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, "Oh, he's clever, you know, the wee guy, sharp attack, right? It's not a trial, but I just want to see you can play first. There's no way you're going to sign these forms until I see you do something."
He knows that you're not going to say no as well. He's bullied you
it's
into
too
it.
late. So I walked onto the pitch. Next minute, he's got balls. I've just balls fanning from both sides. I've got headers. I've got chest volleys, you name both sides. You know what I mean?
It's a trial, isn't it?
Well, you know what I mean. And so I'm you know what I mean. And after 10 minutes, he's gone, "Right, that's enough, son. Come on, let's go." So goes in, get yourself showered, and you'll be in by now. He was there all the time.
He was upstairs watching.
He was upstairs having his lunch. You know what I mean?
It's mad to think that goes on, though, isn't it? When you think about that.
But honestly, he was just so shrewd. You know, Ian was different class. He was brilliant, and so I signed. And
were you happy with your contract?
Not really, no.
Compared to the Weymouth one, were you going to be getting more at Weymouth in the conference than what you did in the All League One?
Yeah.
It's fucking mad.
Nearly twice as much.
Jesus.
And a car and a flat, which I didn't get any of that.
Did you ever, when you first saw them figures, did you ever think, maybe I should go to Weymouth? Or were you that?
No, I just wanted to play football. Honestly,
at the highest level.
Well, at the highest level I could, any level, but I mean, just getting that opportunity, you know, because I'd felt I had, you know, I'd put in the miles, and I was always the type of person, whenever I was a game of football, I'd be there, and it doesn't matter how far it was or where it was, I'd go. And somebody said to me, "Oh, all right, I'll give it a go." You know, it didn't really come into it. In fact, later on, I was at Millwall, and Bruce Ray took me to Millwall. He was a manager that took me to Millwall, and I left. When Bruce left, Bruce had got sacked. He then got the Bolton job. Now, when he got the Bolton job, Ian McNeil from Shrewsbury was his assistant. So that was where the link came. Right. So Ian had gone with Bruce initially as his assistant. Later on, when Colin Todd came in, Ian became chief scout. But the link was there. So when Ian went to join Bruce at Millwall, then they got sacked, went to Bolton. Ian got on the phone to me straight away and says, "The boss."
So in the long, obviously you didn't know at the time, but in the long run, taking less money at Shrewsbury. Well, not really, because I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. But so Ian got on the phone to me straight away. The boss got the Bolton job. Ian got on the phone to me and he says, "Right, we're coming in to get you." He says, "Hey, we want you as soon as we can." Right, but they had no money. I went, "Okay." Mick McCarthy had taken over from Bruce at Millwall as the manager. Now Mick, as a teammate, was unbelievable.
Was that his first job?
Yeah.
Like player manager? Yeah.
He was unbelievable as a teammate, right? And banter, and he would mix with boys and all that. See, the day he got the job, never spoke to me again.
Did he change? Yeah.
Never spoke to me again. Honestly, God, never.
Surprised.
And you have to a certain degree, but cut us off dead, right?
With everybody as well, or
I don't know.
Did you think it was just you?
No, there was a few. There was a few, but I might have been top of the list. But anyway, but no. So that happened, right? So then Bolton didn't have any money. So by this time the season had started, and Mick didn't want to play me, but he was forced to because they had injuries, right? So I got in the team and I was scoring goals for him.
Why did he not want to play you?
He just didn't
From
want
above, or
No,
just didn't rate you as a player?
I think he didn't rate me as a player, to be honest with you. I wasn't his cup of tea, I don't think. You know what I mean? For whatever reason.
Is that like?
I don't know.
Just as a player, or
Probably.
personality-wise?
I mean, I ripped him a wee bit, but... but, I mean...
You've got to look at the fucking size of your nose, mate.
I ripped him a wee bit, but there was no need for that, do you know what I mean?
We did that all the time. I know.
But, no, so, you know, whatever. But he was forced to play me at the start of the season. And then by the time Bolton got the money together, it was the end of September. It was actually the 30th of September I signed. My bag had been packed. I had a bag packed, an overnight bag in the back of the car, and it was with me all the time. Even during pre-season and everyone that was there, I was waiting to go. And when I got the phone call, it was funny because I was at home, just got home in the afternoon from training, got the phone call, they said, can you? And I was in the car and gone. Then he said, Mrs. I was saying, I'm away at Bolton. Right. So Mrs. was saying, kids' school. That was it. So I was in the car and gone. All right. So I'm driving up, drove in, stayed at the Pack Horse. They'd booked me in there, right? So I booked into I was in the square, right in the middle of Bolton. And so the first night I stayed there, it was a Thursday night. Fucking place was jumping outside, right? And I'm 3 a.m, I'm looking out the window, I'm going, what's going on here? So anyway, up in the morning.
You're thinking, why am I not in?
Well, yeah, I know, yeah. But then I'm saying to myself, well, that actually doesn't look like a bad night here, you know? But so
Poscast is like that hotel in Barnsley that you were at, slap bang in the centre of town.
Nightclubs
and
around
bars
it.
all the way around.
student accommodation.
Shagging down, yeah?
Yeah.
Student accommodation now. But so getting in the morning. I mean, it wasn't even a medical then, you know. The doctor bent your knees and buddy went, oh, yeah, that's all right, yeah, that was your medical. So then it came into, right, John, come into the office. Boss, right, boss, everything okay? Yeah, apart from the place I stayed last night, could I stay in a different hotel? No worries, I'll get Jean to sort it. Jean in the office will sort you in a different hotel. Right, now, contract. Right,
Here we go.
I think that tells its own story.
the contract. Well, you know you're on this, yeah, but we can't pay that. I went, okay. But what you're probably thinking we can't pay that either. Do you know what I mean? So, but I ended up. It was over a third.
Less.
You took a 2/3 drop.
No, it was a third drop.
A third. Oh right, yeah.
It was a third drop, and I lost my club car.
You can go back and get all one off your mum.
and like,
You couldn't just run that fucking through the MOT, could you, man?
so no, it was quite a bit. And he said to me, he says, look, we've really struggled to put the money together for you and to get you here, but trust me. And I did. You know what I mean? He was different class to me. He looked after me, and within, to be fair, 9 months later, I signed a new contract.
So as soon as he could give you a new contract,
Yeah,
He did.
What was it? Did you have to drop leagues, or were they in the same league?
No, I dropped the league as well.
League Two.
I dropped the league. Yeah, well, League One now.
Yeah.
And went in. You know, he had changed things around. He had to sell Tony Philliskert to bring in money to buy me, because the strike partnership was David Reeves and Tony Philliskert. They'd had them for a few years and they'd both done really well. Both boys scored goals, didn't they? And so when he changed it round, he had to obviously get out to come in. But when he did it. And you know, when the crowds that season, when I first came in, they averaged about 5,500 because he was building. You know, and the club itself, you know, massive ground, you know, typical old-fashioned, real traditional ground, and it was building. And that year, 18th we were, he signed Keith Brannigan from Millwall as a goalie, and David Lee, he came in 2 weeks after me on loan from Southampton. Now David Lee he played for Bury as well, so he was bringing, you know, people back to, you know, where they knew the place and everything else. And then we went on a run, and the run was phenomenal. From 18th, we got promotion that season. Right in the last game, we got promotion. It was Stoke City won the league. We went up as runners-up. And then towards the end of the season, you couldn't get a ticket for the ground. It was packed. I mean, it was the atmosphere was just unbelievable. And that was in between all that, we went to Liverpool, Anfield, won at Liverpool, 2-0 in the cup. And they were the holders at the time. We went on a hell of a run, cup-wise. Went to Everton. We went. I mean, phenomenal. But the place, coming from a place that was holding 5,500 fans to the end of the season, 21,500 fans. You know what I mean? And you could feel it moving. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. But that was the boss, and that was. I think that was a rebirth of our football club that year.
Yeah.
Your football club.
Did who was the captain then? It was Phil Brown there.
Phil Brown, yeah. We were in the oldest swinger in town.
Oh,
Here we go, John. Here we go.
One of the biggest twats in town. He's not. He's quite.
Swindon?
No, Hull.
Hull?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're not going to get into it, mate. You can talk about it, but I'm just going to fucking put my fingers in me.
Right. But I must say, playing with them. I mean, you've obviously got your personal issues with them. That's fair enough. But playing with them, good player. I mean, he should have played higher. I think as a right full back, can't remember him playing a bad game, to be honest with you. Good guy, good player. I think he's gone into the man. He's out in India now. At the minute.
Best place for him.
Was it, when as a player, was he a fan of his own work back then? Did he like his gear and sunbeds and all
he was
that?
different. Oh, without doubt. Yeah, Christ's sake. Yeah, he was a little bit eccentric at times, I would say, with his gear and stuff like that. He had different tastes.
He just wanted to be seen. I think
he liked the line. Yeah, he did. I mean,
I think even the chant from the stands was "Sunbed, give us a wave."
Yeah,
Sunbed, give us a wave. Yeah.
But he was. I mean,
there must have been them that you actually got in your own bedroom back then, weren't it?
With clock on.
Like you used to hide them for a week, didn't you? You must have had it for 6 months.
But he was a good skipper. He was. At the time, at that level, he was a good player.
Who else was in that team? I'm asking you.
McAteer coming in as a young lad.
Alan Stubbs.
Yeah.
McAteer. We had signed Alan Thompson from Newcastle. Alan Thompson had a bad car crash, and he was told at 16 he wouldn't walk again.
Went on to have some career, didn't he?
Played for England.
Did Rioch sign all these?
Yeah.
But he's got a canny CV, hasn't he?
When you think about it.
So think of all them players that have gone on and...
Well, it helped build the club.
Yeah, so by this time you've got 21,000 fans every week.
Yep.
You've got promoted. Mm-hmm. Is there sort of money coming into the club now?
Well, I think...
Where you can sign for people players from Newcastle and...
Well, we did. We went and we signed that after that first season. This is where Ian McNeil comes in. Ian McNeil had a fantastic eye for a player. You brought in 2 boys from Holland. Denmark. Per Fransen, Michael Johansson came in. Yeah. Richard Sneeks came in from Holland.
Sneeks. Had a shot on him, Richard Sneeks.
Fabian De Freitas, who's got in the back of the shirt there.
Who stretched across the back of that shirt.
Who scored the 2 goals at Wembley. I mean, that paid for his transfer fee alone. But Mixu Patalainen came down from Scotland.
Was he a character? Mixu.
Would he at Hibs?
The flying thing.
He was at Aberdeen. He was at Hibs, yeah. He managed Hibs as well.
That's what I'm
thinking. He played and managed there. But strongest man in the world. Honestly, he was a big guy, right? And
just look you up and down then.
No, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Your build and strength, you know what I mean? He'd pick me up like I was a bloody toothpick, and like, where are you? I remember the very first time we met him, right? Me and Owen Coyle were the main sort of piss takers in the dressing room, right? And we used to rip everybody. And the first time the big fella came on, right? We got on the bus and we were leaving for an away game. And me and Owen are sitting there, and we always weigh everybody up, right? Who's going to get it today?
Who's the victim?
Who's the victim today? Anyway, the big man sitting there, right? We're watching him. He was eating an apple, and he ate the lot. Core, everything, right? Pips. Everything, the pips, a lot, the core. And we're sitting like them. And Oney pipes up, didn't he? And he went, fucking, did you see that apple? All the core in that? And Mixie went, yeah. And he went, And the way he said it and the way he looked at Oni, you know what I mean? It was like, and he went, "Oh, that's fine." he was going to get it, and then all of a sudden, "That's okay then." Right, we'll just go on Greenie then. Scott Green will do. But the big man, he just did, like, he was dead funny in that, right? But see, sometimes when you just got serious, turn around and give you a look. That's enough. Then.
You knew.
That's it now. Right? You've gone too far. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give you this look. And if you don't take the look, then you might get a clip. You know what I mean?
Make that the last.
But the big man was honestly fantastic.
Have we skipped over Mick McCarthy at Millwall too quick here?
No, because I mean, you pretty much left straight not long after he took over.
Well, he took over towards the end of the season, and then obviously I was with him at the start of the season. But I've made it make sense. I'm fine, you know. We're fine and all. And he actually came up to me, right, and he. The first time he really had a conversation with me, he goes, "Biggest mistake I've made in football. Let you go," like that. And
I wonder why.
I'm glad. No, I'm glad. Without doubt, I'm glad.
I wonder
because
why he bloody went down that road.
Well, I think at the time they had some decent boys there. Anyway,
they've got to change, like, haven't they?
Yeah.
From a player to the manager, they've got to change. But it's just to what extent they do change.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And I think he had Chris Armstrong there, who went on to play for England, Tottenham Hotspur. John Goodman at the time was there, a striker who had done really well as well.
Casey Keller there.
Casey Keller was a goalie.
Yeah, because
American.
Yeah.
So
obviously he went on to be Tottenham and US international.
What's he doing now?
Wait a minute. You know when you say US international, right? I mean, obviously the standards got better now, but I wouldn't have been impressed with him being a US international back then. You know what I mean?
I think they were all right.
No, until that, we're at 94.
Lexi Lalas year.
Did they all the World Cup in 94, America?
94, yeah.
Right, so before that, football weren't even a game.
Well,
you know what I mean?
And
so
they were pretty shit at 94.
If he were a goalkeeper in 1992 playing for America, he were pretty much playing for fucking pack horse.
He were only keeper about pack horse.
He were playing for coaching horses in Bolton Sunday League, weren't he? Playing for America back then. You know what I mean? Shite.
Well, he was playing for Tottenham as well, so he must have been out.
Fair enough, yeah. But I just when you said it were an American international, like, they were shite. You're better off with one of the fucking goalkeepers from ice hockey than him back then. Anyway.
So were he alright?
Actually, he wasn't a bad goalie after all that. He had glasses that were honestly thick as milk bottles. He did, honestly.
That's not a good start for him.
Hey, so how the hell he ever saw anything when he took them off, I'll never know. But he was a good goalie. But his gear, though, it was his gear that he got stick for. You know, the white socks and the jeans and, you know, all that nonsense. That was
the American gear.
Yeah, the American gear. But a nice lad, good lad.
And slips at one. So you're League One at Bolton when you come, but you're 28, aren't you?
Yep.
So because Grant Holt came up through the leagues to the Premier League, so you must have thought at that age, 28, are you going to get to that top level, Premier League?
Or were you just enjoying being a footballer and playing?
I'll be honest with you, it never crossed my mind. I was just enjoying being part of something, and you know what I mean, something properly at a proper club. And I would think probably the turning point for me from thinking and probably still acting like a non-league player was probably going to Millwall and seeing how Teddy Sheringham worked.
Oh, I forgot about Teddy.
Teddy was, honestly God, when I saw him, and...
Did you change?
Yeah.
What, you mean off the pitch? Like his diet and all that?
No, not just, no.
Professionalism.
No, I mean, what he did, the work he put in, and then the work he put in himself afterwards. You know, once everybody was finished, he would go back out and he would have a bit of lunch and then go back out again in the afternoon. And all he'd be doing is he'd be like volleys and just... I mean, there's no coincidence how clean that guy hits the ball.
Yeah.
You know, and he's finishing because...
Side foot.
You know, he's free kicks.
On toast, didn't he?
I mean, it was just... Everything was just so clean and clinical. And... You know, initially I would watch him. I didn't go back out. I would just watch him because I was still in that mode where
still finishing your dinner off.
No, it was like quick, something to eat and away, and then you're away somewhere, aren't you?
Watching him admire him, but then look at that busy bastard out there. That goes together.
That's what does go on though.
From a distance.
You did it. Fucking hell, he's doing it again, lads. Teddy's off again.
And you're, what a finish that was. You know, and I'm trying to finish my dinner. But no, in the end, you know, you get sort of shamed, and then you go out yourself and you get involved, and again learn so much from him. You know, his movement. You know, the big thing at that time was they were head to head, him and David Hirst, and they were saying that David Hirst would go on and play for England. Teddy wouldn't because he lacked pace. No, they picked faults with Teddy and said he wasn't as good as Hirst. Now Hirst was an unbelievable goal scorer. He had power, he had pace, he would get in behind, he could occupy people. You know, but Teddy was clever. And what he didn't have in pace, he made up for by thinking quick. You know, Teddy would be 3-4 moves ahead of everybody else, and he made his space himself just through his cleverness. But everything he did was just, and even the way he carried himself.
He had a bit about him, didn't he?
I mean, he
what age will he have been here then?
Yeah,
Teddy?
I was thinking that. Were you older than him?
I was older than him. Yeah, I was older than him. I think Teddy was probably about 4 years younger than me. So he was about 23, 24.
Yeah.
So was it you and Sheringham then, who used to play up front?
Yeah. I'll tell you who was there. There was Teddy Sheringham, Mark Falco, that came from Tottenham. Big Mark Falco. He was a decent big player. Chris Armstrong, like I said, he was there. Malcolm Allen. Malcolm Allen's probably the best finisher I've ever seen. He was at Newcastle. Yeah. Oh, what a finisher that boy was. He had 2 bad knee injuries, and that's what done him in. Apart from that, he was phenomenal. Wales, I mean, what a striker he was.
I'm just thinking back to McCarthy. Could that be a reason why he wanted rid of you? Because he had Armstrong, Sheringham.
Yeah, there had plenty of players there. No, Sheringham had gone by this time.
All right.
Teddy had gone. Teddy went to Nottingham Forest, if you remember. It was right in the hang. It was the first year of the Premier League.
Scored the first goal, didn't he?
He signed for them.
What was that, 92?
Yeah,
First Premier League
season,
in 92.
Yeah, I think it was 92. But Teddy had gone to Forest, and because obviously Millwall were in the sort of playoffs to get promotion, didn't get it, and that was Teddy gone then. You know, he went to further his career, but he was the one that changed my sort of attitude, to be honest with you. And him and Bruce, because Millwall was the first time I encountered Bruce, you know, and you weren't allowed to go into the training ground. You had to either wear the club tracksuit or you had to wear trousers on a shirt. You couldn't wear jeans, you couldn't wear anything, none of that. You got a day's growth. You had to be sort of smart and tidy.
fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh.
I don't know how the boss would have gone these days with the beards and that. But in them days, that was it. You know what I mean? And I was terrible timekeeper, and I just didn't give 2 monkeys, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? But he quickly turned that around.
What about the hairdos as well? Because you had the 90s wedge going on. The curtains and the wedge.
Yeah, when I was at Shrewsbury, it was halfway down my back at one point at Shrewsbury. And that, like, you know what I mean? But that went quick. that went.
That's like can you imagine now, like some of the gear that the lads come in now, fucking hell, you've got to wear either the club tracksuit or shirt and trousers.
Yeah.
Even the Barnetts, you know, Pogba, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah,
Paul. Getting stars in his hair and that.
But
who was the flashiest under Bruce? Who would he have to put one the most?
Who would like push the boundaries?
Yeah, it sounds like Phil.
No, well, he was club cat. He was skipper. You know what I mean? So he wouldn't really. He would toe the line as such. But
they made up for the hairdo with his skin tone.
Honestly, there was nobody really that stood out. Everybody was in the same boat, really. You know what I mean? And it was like, I think Bruce had formed a team and put a band together that a lot of them nobody else wanted, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And he gave them discipline and a bit of structure, and they went with it. But other than that, I mean, brilliant nights out. There's no doubt about that. But nobody really
pushed the boundary.
Nah, not really. Apart from Tony, I suppose. But Tony's was a different boundary he was pushing.
I asked the same question to Hawley, but when did you realise that you thought I could play, I can make it all the way? Yeah. Was there a specific game that you can remember where you thought, I've just absolutely bullied this centre half who's meant to be one of the best there is?
I think probably the game at Anfield, that first season at Bolton.
Is that when you won in the cup?
Yeah, we went to Anfield and won 2-0. Graham Souness was the manager at the time, and they had a decent team. They had Barnes, Rush, Grobbelaar, they were all still in there, do you know what I mean? And they were cup holders. And they came to Bundon Park. We played on a Sunday at Bundon Park. It was a real icy, it was a frosty pitch. The game wouldn't have been on other than it being on live on TV. That was the only reason they played it, because it was a skating rink. And we went 2-0 up in that game, and we were all over them, right? And they came back in the second half, and they drew 2-2. Ian Rush scored, and one of our boys scored an own goal, made it 2-2. And after that game, Graham Souness was getting interviewed on the sidelines, right? He had this big, stupid-looking, big black fur coat on. He looked like a pimp. Right? And he still had the pimp tash on his ass, you know what I mean? And he stood there on the sidelines, you know what I mean? And he said, God, we were lucky today, we got away with one there today, you know what I mean? That was a potential banana skin, but he says, the hard work's done now, we'll get them back at Anfield and sort things out, you know? But that was like a red rag to a bull to a certain degree. And the boss took us there. We went over in the morning of the game, stayed, we went for a sleep in the afternoon and everything else. See, that night to me it was a dream come true, because Kenny Dalglish was my hero growing up, and all I wanted to do was go and touch that sign, "This is Anfield."
I thought you were going to say touch his ball.
I would have touched anything Kenny asked me to. But no, I just wanted to go and touch that sign, right? And because to me that was making it.
Yeah.
And touched the sign as soon as I went in. And then my second mission was, right, what can I steal? Because I wanted a memento. Because
the fur coat.
No, well, because in my head was, I'll never be back here again. This is my one and only chance, sort of thing, you know what I mean? And so I'm pegs. Is there any loose pegs, or is there anything I can nick in the dressing room? And to be fair, there was a few of the boys all running about daft, and Bruce just sat there. To be fair, he gave them 5 minutes. Let you have your run around, let you have your wee kids, if I can do all that nonsense. And then he just went, right. And that was it. Everybody went and sat down. But I'd got my peg by this time, so I was all right.
Still got it?
No. But that was, to me, that was making it. Dalglish, this is Anfield, going there. And then not knowing how the game was going to turn out. The game was unbelievable. We played them off the park, but playing football as well, which you don't normally associate with a lower league team going to play a Premier League team and one of the top Premier League teams.
He was thinking, we'll hang on.
We'll hang on. We need to put our foot in. You know what I mean? We need to hang on, stop them playing. It's the other way around. That night, David Lee, the winger, he tormented them, right? Rob Jones, England, inside, outside, absolutely. That is the best performance I've ever seen from a football player in live. That night, if he had kept his head, he could have probably scored 4 or 5 goals himself that night. Honestly, he tore them to shreds, single-handedly tore them to shreds. Now, myself and Andy Walker scored the goals. We won 2-0. We more or less get the headlines, but that guy deserved all the headlines because he honestly single-handedly won that game.
Yeah. Did you get in the dressing room after and think to yourself, that's a fuck you, Souness? We're giving it the old we've got away with one here, we'll get back to Anfield and pretty much we'll dick him.
Yeah,
that's what it would be.
Without doubt, yeah, he was going to put 5 or 6 past us, you know what I mean? They would wipe the floor with us. But do you know the biggest compliment that night? We had 9,500 fans there that night, right? And it was, just phenomenal. We were down celebrating behind the goal with our fans, and everybody's going daft. Down there for 2 or 3 minutes, got a tap on the shoulder, turned round. The whole cop had stayed, and the whole team turned round, walked towards the halfway line, and the whole cop just applauded us. That is phenomenal, and that happens by all accounts quite regular there. If somebody comes
and does well
and plays football, then they appreciate it, and especially, you know what I mean. You couldn't get any bigger underdogs.
Even though they've just been knocked out of the cup, fair play, lad.
And that is respect, you know what I mean, and for them. And the cop as well, to show that respect, that lives with me forever.
That must be even more of a I've made it moment than touching the sign.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
You know what I mean?
After that game, you've just been thinking, fuck me, I've competed there.
Yeah. So that was me. As far as I was concerned, that was me. Yeah. I was at the top.
Retired, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's my last game.
If Everton had finished right, and then that would have been it. You know what I mean? I'd have been happy.
So then, obviously, you get that promotion, make it to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I've just been thinking about this, by the way. Do you know that promotion?
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
No, that wasn't to the Premier League. That was to the Championship. Because we were League Two.
I was just jumping forward to
Right.
when, obviously,
The Reading.
to get into the Premier League, talking about making
This is
it,
what I'm on about. What year was that?
to the Premier League.
Yeah.
It was, what, 95?
95, 96.
Yeah.
Right. So, we'll just go back to this because it's just in my head. So, then you got relegated, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you went up in around 99?
96, 97.
Right. And then did you get relegated again?
Yeah.
And then you went back up in 99?
I wasn't there then.
But John had a left back.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm thinking. Because I played against Bolton at 18. I think it was the second last game of the season. And Bolton beat us 2-0 at Oakwell to get promoted, I think.
right.
Michael Ricketts would have been up front, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, one cat
Right.
wonder.
What I was trying to work out is
Right.
if I played
No.
against you in 99.
No, I'd gone. The 96, 97 season when we got promotion, that was a special one because that was the last year at Bundon Park.
Yeah.
You know, so the last to Everton, the culmination of that year was promotion, and the very last game we had, it was live on Sky at home to Charlton. We'd already won the league, and we won the game 4-1, and I got the last 2 goals at the ground,
We all ground.
which that means probably more than anything to me. to
That's
be
the
honest
claim to
with you.
fame, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not the Dwarves.
Yeah, and it's no, but you know, like that night they brought back a lot of the old players. You know, going down the decades and everything else, going down the generations where they played there. So Nat Lofthouse, obviously the focal point, and
The
about
number one.
everything.
The number one on the list.
And my number one. You know what I mean? As a man, do you know, to be able to go in every day and talk to that man, and do you know when you speak to people, right? And the club was his club. It was his football club, right? His passion, everything else. But it wasn't a passion like, right, you've got to do this, you've got to... It was like, you'd walk in, just say you hadn't scored for a few games or whatever, and you'd see him every day and you'd say, come on, Cocker. He'd put his arm around you and he'd take you for a little walk round and he goes, just relax, it'll come. You know what I mean? Just keep playing, keep doing what you're doing and all that. But he'd make you feel 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
You know?
Because of who it were.
Because of who he was, and not just that, because of how approachable he was,
and how he said it.
And it was never like, well, I did this, or I played like this, or this is what I did. No, it was never. It was never ever. He never compared himself. In fact, if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't know he played football. You would just think he was a nice guy. Do you know what I mean? And he did that. Honest to God, he would be there, and every game when you played, you know, you looked up. To say you'd scored a goal, you're walking back the halfway line or you whatever, he'd be there beaming. You know what I mean? And he'd be like,
they were really happy for you.
do you know what I mean? And you could see him just. And that day, when you go back to Reading, that day, you know, to see him crying and being on the pitch, you know, and he's sitting afterwards drinking champagne and he's kissing the cup he was like a wee boy, you know. Just to see that, he just loved everything about it. And when his club started to come back, you could see him light up.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like crying, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think that's played a part in you embracing the club in the way that you have? Do you know, there's not many players that have the club crest tattooed on there.
No. Yeah. Do you know? I think
I've not got a big enough fucking chest for all that. Well, I might have too.
I think I've been really fortunate because, I mean, the relationship I've got with the supporters is second to none. You know, since the day I signed for the football club, and
Do you think that's because they appreciate not only the goals that you scored, but they realise how hard you were working for the club, and you know what I mean?
I think it's a two-way street, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's more so now where, you know, you haven't played for 20 odd years. Do you know what I mean? And yet they still treat you the same. They still not just being my family. You know what I mean? They treat everybody, and it's like. You try and you do more on that side now.
Yeah.
You know, with the charity stuff and everything else, and you just do it. people have said all the way through, oh, would you like to manage Bolton? Why don't you manage Bolton? I wouldn't do it. I would never do it. Never ever. Do you know why I would never do it? Because I would lose my relationship at some point.
Yeah.
We saw the game with Brian Gunn at Norwich. He did that. He had a similar status at the club, went manager. He was sacked within 6 months, and it kind of ruined it. Yeah,
tainted his legacy, reputation type thing.
I'm pretty sure Alan Shearer will regret managing Newcastle and it not working out, and it.
Do you know it would
affecting his memories there as well, because it's part of it now.
They said never go back, don't they? They said never go back.
Could you imagine being on the sidelines when the people that have supported you and been really good to you, and all of a sudden now they're calling for you, slaughtering you and calling for your head, and like, you know what I mean? You might
get a little bit more time because of who you are.
Yeah, you might do well.
Ultimately, they'll call you a twat instead of a cunt.
But even if you do well, it's
going to turn eventually.
At some point, isn't it? You might have 3 or 4 good years.
There's going to be a time where...
There's going to be a time. There always is. You know? It's inevitable what's going to happen. But it would break me. It would finish me. It really would.
So you'd rather not put yourself in that situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, whilst we're on the subject of legacy at the club and everything else, the way in which you were treated during what's gone on over the last 2 years of, you know, like we said, having that legacy and putting negative comments out against the style of football, if you will, because he's treating it almost as a dictatorship. You've spoke against the club and the style of play. You're not allowed to come through them doors.
No.
I don't. If you're actually questioning the style of play, that's not really questioning the club, though, is it?
It's not questioning him, is it? Or
no, it's not questioning the club as a whole. It's just
I think he was speaking as well against maybe that Parkinson should have gone.
Yep.
And those decisions. So in a way, you're speaking against his running of the club.
I think you've got to look at 2 things really. I mean, Phil Parkinson, I felt should have went in October, you know, to give us a chance. I mean, you can argue both sides of the coin here. You know, he didn't have the resources, didn't have this, didn't have that. But the style of play was shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. You felt like you were defending for 70 minutes in the hope that you might get a corner or a free kick and try and pinch the game. You know, we just.
Is this is the season after the?
This is last season.
This is last season, and the season before, did they not score in the 93rd minute to stay up?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it were already shitty.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind that John at this point is working for BBC Radio Manchester,
BBC
so he's a journalist.
Yeah.
What doing the job that you're supposed to be doing is reporting on the game and giving your opinion.
Right. Yeah. So the season before, Bolton stay up in the 93rd minute with
Aaron Wilbraham header.
93rd minute. So they've struggled for the whole year that season before.
We've been struggling for a few years, if we're honest. But no, the style of play was shocking, and you felt cheated in a sense, because you felt the team were set up not really to give it a go. Now, if you're giving it a go and you're getting beat, then fair enough. Yeah. But I think we had players in there that could have done better under maybe different tactics. But Anderson himself, the reason that Phil kept his job was because he didn't want to pay him off. That's his bottom line. So now he becomes untouchable to a certain degree.
Yeah, no matter what's happening on the pitch.
Doesn't matter what's happened on the pitch. Doesn't matter what's happening round the pitch. And you know, the culmination was there was some sort of protest set up at the ground. And by this time I had been banned, and the reason I got banned was I was on the radio and I was doing the phone in after the game, and somebody phoned up and actually tried to stick up for Ken Anderson in saying that, well, at least he's kept the club going, you know, at least things are still good. And I'm trying to say to this guy, look, you don't realise what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And this club is getting fleeced. You know, everything's going. We're being asset stripped right in front of our eyes, and you're not realising what's going on. And he goes, oh, but you said this and said that. And I said, look, if that man's lips move, he's lying. So that got me. That's what got me banned.
To be fair, if you'd have said that, I don't think you won't be welcome in my house. Neither if you said that about me.
But I mean, again, I suppose that's.
Well, that was more of from a supporter type. Like, obviously, you're on the radio, but that's more of you're opinion as a supporter as opposed to doing the radio, phone and journalism type thing?
I probably, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to hold my hands up, you know. I probably wear my heart on my sleeve too much on that side because I'm passionate about the football club. I hate to see it in the position it's been in. It breaks my heart, you know, and it's...
But you could also see what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're privy to things that the normal public don't know what's going on, you know, and you're privy and you know what's going on. Yet you can't come out public and say it because I wouldn't be wearing any clothes now or the shoes. You know? It's like
you've been in court for the last 6 months.
But that's it, and so, you know, as you said earlier, and I believe it's my football club, and you know, if somebody's not treating it right, you are going to speak up, you know. And
did you get a phone call then to say that you? How did they play?
I found out from the BBC. The BBC had applied for a pass for the following home game, and they got denied. So that's how I found out.
Thing is, he's playing with fire there, really, isn't he? They wouldn't stop him from going to the ground.
Well, then, I mean, there was a demonstration, and it wasn't because I got banned, but I had been banned by this point. There was a demonstration, and I'd got asked to go. I'd got asked to go along to the demonstration, but all of a sudden now I'm leading it. You know what I mean? Because they've made it. You know what I mean?
Oh, we won't go.
So now I'm leading the demonstration.
Like for sale sign, like
flaming pitchfork.
Yeah. So then I actually got a phone call from Parky, from Phil Parkinson, saying that, you know, and he was sticking up for the chairman, if I'm honest with you, and he was on the phone for about 20 minutes, arguing the case and saying that no, I shouldn't be involved in it. I'll be seen as a troublemaker. I'll be, you know, all this nonsense. And I said, well, look, that's your opinion. He said, well, I wouldn't go if I was you. I wouldn't turn up and all that.
You'll say I won't fucking carry on playing that style of football. You'll play.
Well, exactly. That was in the phone call as well. You know what I mean? And everything else. I said, I don't agree with the way you play football. It doesn't suit us. It doesn't suit us as a town, as a support. We've always been used to this is a working man's town. You know, roll your sleeves up, put a shift in. You know what I mean? And at least if you get beat 3-1 and you put a shift in, they'll take it.
Yeah.
They won't be happy, but they'll take it. You know, and you know, 20 minutes later, the phone goes down. No, I mean, I'm still going to the demonstration. So I turns up at the demonstration anyway, and Ken Anderson had said in the press, oh, it'll blow out. There'll be 50 people there, or 100 people there. There was over 5,000 walking around the ground, you know, and...
Were you at the front?
No.
Yeah. You're like fucking Nelson Mandela at the front. Come on.
Life for Brian.
It was one of them. I mean, you
do not think there were that many there.
I knew there'd be a lot, but maybe not quite as many as that. But the thing being, you turn up and all of a sudden, do you know what I mean? Rightly or wrongly, that's the way it goes. Then you're on Sky Grab, you're on that, you know what I mean? And you're always talking now, it looks like you're leading it, you know? But I mean, that was just frustration from the supporters. You know, they had got to the stage they were losing their football club. People were just frustrated and didn't really know what to do, but had to try and do something, you know. And to be fair, the guy never came back to a game. Ken Anderson never set foot in that ground ever again. He knows he'll never set foot in this town again. Not that he probably doesn't want to anyway, but that man will be looking over their shoulder for the rest of his days.
So why did he buy it? Why did he?
I'd like to know the full story. Were they in a good position when he took over?
Not the best, but we still had assets. And them assets quickly disappeared.
So training ground,
I mean, you name it. I mean, there's stuff in that ground now. There was all sorts, and not just that. You got to remember, you're taking over a business. Now you're encountering loans have been taken out. This hasn't been paid back. This was taken out. This money came in and it's disappeared. This is gone. And there's all sorts of things in there. Skeletons in the cupboard. They're still encountering that to this day. You look at it, this town revolves around that football club. As every club you've played, the town, everything about it. See, when the football club does well, the town does well. People walk about with a spring in their step. People are happier. Families are happy. Everything.
It's mad how football actually
the heartbeat
contributes to that.
Of course,
it's the heartbeat of the community.
It's everything, honestly. And
essentially,
you know, to be so close to losing that. You know, I felt as a football club, by moving out of the town to move into this new stadium, it's no coincidence that the Heart was ripped out of the town then. And the town's been on a steady decline since then. All the big shopping companies and everything else we had at that point have all since left.
Can you understand why, from an outsider, I can understand why the football club did that, to expand?
Listen,
no question.
No question. I mean, but there's another side to that as well.
It's happened at my old York's exactly the same.
It's a 50-50 side there, John, whereas you look at it, do you know when they knocked the old stadium down? You didn't realise how big an area they had. You know, if it was to be redeveloped or whatever, you know. And all the businesses around the old ground quickly died a death, gone. And not just that, I mean, for years and years, even now you drive past and I can't believe it's not there. And I can't believe, originally it was a Woolworths that was on the ground, now it's an Asda. Right? And you look at it, not just for that reason, it's a memorial. 33 people died at that football ground in a disaster. 33 people, do you know what I mean? And now there's a little plaque inside Asda.
Yeah, it's not good.
Do you know what I mean? And I think, as you said, from a business point of view, we've moved up here to Horwich, out of the town, but there's a lot of people in Bolton won't come because it's Horwich, it's not Bolton. And you know, when you give people an excuse not to come, they won't. Do you know, and I think it's great out here. We've got the shopping centre there, it's close to the motorway, you've got all the links, fantastic. You can grow it, the hotel, brilliant, it looks good. I mean, even now, you wouldn't believe that stadium was 22-year-old, would you?
Nah.
You'd think it was 8 or 9, 10-year-old.
Yeah.
No, when it was so futuristic when they designed it, fantastic. But it's not Abundant Park.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the same way sort of Cardiff, Old Ninian Park were horrible to go and play at. The new ground, it's lovely to go and play at. You know what I mean? Yeah. You've got sort of the Den. Is it Den? Dell? Southampton?
Yeah.
And then now, they're just totally different atmospheres to go and play at. And the old fucking
Sunderland. I mean, you go down the list, you know.
Hull, the old Millwall one.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think the way the clubs are run as well.
The football clubs have got to do it.
Yeah,
I feel
from a business perspective,
but it's just totally different entity to the fan.
I've said this before. I always think that a football club's different than any other business, in that people are there to come together and a community thing. And as soon as you are creating something for the sole purpose of making money, which is what a lot of club owners are there for, it's a business for them. And it's like I said before, it's like music, it's like food, it's like film or whatever. As soon as you're creating something from the sole purpose of making money, you just rip the soul right out of it, because that's all it's there for.
But then you can also flip that, as in, would Bolton have had the success that they would have had without being in this stadium?
Probably not.
Would they have been in Europe?
But in saying that, John, you don't know what if they'd spent the same amount of money on redeveloping the old ground. I'm sure they could have, because I mean nothing like that would have changed. But that does bring an income stream, i.e. the hotel and such, you know, and being close to the motorway, they have a lot of meetings there, you know, reps and stuff that come off and, you know, meet there and things like that during the day. So that does bring in quite a substantial amount of money.
I'm quite fortunate as a Barnsley fan, because they've just developed where they were. Yeah. So you still got everybody knows where it is, but it's that place where they've gone for the last 10, 15, 30 years.
And that's what you're breaking. You're breaking consistency. You're breaking cycles. You know, people used to go in there. There was no better sight on a Saturday, driving into the ground, and then you'd see thousands of people just walking out the town, out the pubs, walking down Manchester Road to the ground, and it's kind of set the tone for the atmosphere and everything else. You know, all walking together, all had a few drinks, and then after the game, all walking back into the town. You know, the place was it was an unbelievable place at that time, and yet you go in there now and it's all like pound shops, charity shops, and
fucking hell,
not many pubs.
Got time to nip in, have we? I need some links.
Bargains.
I need some links. A couple of bottles of bleach.
Sorry, McGinlay, I thought you were on with your gear there. But it is. I mean, it is. But progress, isn't it?
That's just the way it's gone.
Yeah.
Basically.
So we said like 28 getting into League One with Bolton, and then just took off from there and getting promotion to the Premier League, and then the players that they brought. I mean, we spoke about him a few times, haven't we? Sasa Surchik.
Mm-hmm. You're desperate to get him on, aren't you?
I know, yeah. I am.
We could be going
Character.
Where's he from?
Character.
Serbia, is it?
Yeah.
We could be going to Serbia for one of these.
What a player he was, but I mean, it was, mind you, it was give him a ball and give us a ball. You know what I mean? Because once he went on a run, in them Premier League games, we were probably too wide open and too naive. You know, we flooded players forward, and especially when he had the ball, because everybody flew forward in support of him. And then when he lost it, it was like 7 players out of position. You know what I mean? But he could just beat men for it. I mean, I remember that goal at Chelsea where he beat half the team, didn't he? Ran about 2/3 of the park, scored. But
so are Bolton starting to pay good wages then?
Not to me. Not to me.
But to the players that are coming, are they paying competitive wages in the Premier League?
I don't think, I wouldn't say competitive, but obviously a lot more than Bolton have been used to paying, that's for sure. But no, they were obviously paying money to attract players in, and we started to get some decent players coming through the doors.
Who else was there?
Well, Sasha was a big one.
He was the big one at the time.
Jerry. I mean, Jerry cost a few quid. Big Jerry Taggart. Chris Fairclough came in.
Nathan Blake then for needing you to start a new partnership.
Nathan
Chris
Blake.
Fairclough, the centre half.
Yeah, centre half. Nottingham Forest.
Did they have the white hair before? No, but they were a Fairclough with a black centre half Fairclough with a sort of scar on his face. What do you call Fairclough?
Fuck knows, John.
You
come out with some random shit.
He had a scar on his face.
I can't remember.
Let's guess who.
He played at Leeds. They were a Fairclough at Leeds.
Yeah, that's the same Fairclough.
Yeah.
He
might have just.
He didn't have a scar. He didn't have a scar. He was just tall centre half.
He might have just fell on the white line or something.
Anyway, Chris Fairclough, Jerry Taggart, pretty much a new centre half pair in there. Kursic came in, Nathan Blake came in, who was fantastic for us.
Did he come from Wolves?
No, Sheffield United.
Went to Wolves after.
Right. Went after Sheffield United. We signed him for, I think it was 1.5, something like that. So they'd actually invested quite a few quid on the players that had come in.
We talked about Franson and that they've obviously made the step up. And
Per Franson, Michael Johansson. So we have got a decent squad, but the problem we didn't have depth. You know, I think what you saw going onto the park on a Saturday was it. When we had any injuries and people out suspensions and etc., then we struggled a little bit. And probably that first year we gave teams far too much respect because we played 1 up front, 5 across the middle of the park. I played wide right for the whole season. He went with Blakey because obviously Blakey can get in behind. He's got the pace and power, so he went with Blakey up the middle on his own, and he went with me wide right of the 5. So.
Were you happy to play that role?
I didn't care when I played, John.
I was happy to play.
I know, well, that's what I mean, because now you've got a striker, a goal-scoring striker now. They chuck him out right. They're throwing the toys out at Prem, aren't they?
John, have you ever knocked on the? You've said a few times, just happy to play.
Yeah.
How many times have you knocked on that manager's door and said, "Listen, I'm not happy"?
What's fucking happening here?
Never. I've never ever knocked the manager's door once. No. I.e., not even for a pay rise, nothing. I think I'm probably old school in the way you think that, right? You'll get something if you deserve it.
Yeah.
But playing that position, I did the same in that playoff game at Wembley against Reading. I played wide right because David Lee had broke his foot about a month before. We had played in the League Cup, I think it was quarter-final or whatever, and he broke his foot. He was out for the rest of the season. So I played wide right at Wembley as well. And Bruce took me aside and said, "Listen, I want you to play wide right." And I don't care. I was going to say I would have played and go. I played and go. I've played and go. Yeah, I played and go. So
manager's dream. Manager's dream.
The blinder as well.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? No, it wasn't about. It's not about. It shouldn't be about individual players. It's about what you can. If you can do a job for a team, regardless, you do it.
Did you ever, looking back, do you ever think that they ripped the arse out of your good nature? Or do you feel like you appreciate it as much as what you were doing for the club?
No, at times I felt that they ripped out me a little bit because at times I think with the older regimes that were at the football club, they wheel me out when they want to wheel me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it suits.
So do you think maybe I should have been a little bit more
Ruthless?
A bit more ruthless?
Maybe sometimes, but would things have been the same?
Yeah.
That's always the sort of answer I go back myself, because at times you think, well, I just wonder what would I do. I always go back to it and say, well, nah, things wouldn't have been the same. You know, it's like I would never have asked to leave or to go anywhere. There were some teams that had come in for me, and one was my boyhood team that come in for me 3 times. They come in.
Celtic.
And it never.
Right manager this time.
Well, hopefully, but I mean, no. But do you know what I mean? So it just wasn't right.
See, that's where if my boyhood team comes in for me, I'm doing everything. I'm going to be a twat.
Yeah, but John, see, the thing is, we were on such a run and such a roll here, and
depending on how good it is where you are,
but not just that. I'd built a sort of rapport with the supporters. Everything's going your way. Everybody's settled. Kids are here.
That's
you know what I mean. Kids support Bolton, and the very first time Celtic came in for me, it was Lou McCarry was a manager, and Bruce just went no, and that's it. The second and the third time, it was Tommy Burns who was the manager, and it was Colin Todd by this time was a Bolton manager, and it was the same thing.
Did they make it worth your while to stay though? I think that's what I'm going back to when I say
no.
You weren't offered a contract increase?
If you went to them and says, listen, Celtic have come in for us, make me one of the
highest player.
Even when they signed Nathan Blake.
I'm perplexed. Mate, so
I wish I'd done it now.
Mate,
but it never even came into my head.
The report with all the fans and that.
No.
It's all well and good, innit?
Did you have an agent?
No. No, if I had an agent, probably he would have been kicking doors down. I understand that, but at the time I didn't never bothered.
I'm not obviously guessing figures, but I'm on $5,000 at Bolton and Celtic off for 10 grand. I'm pinning the manager up for that.
Even when they signed Nathan Blake, I'm sure Nathan Blake's come in as one of the best paid players. I'm thinking, all you've done for the club
never bothered me. Honestly.
Really?
Never bothered.
Not me, John.
I just didn't. I
wish I was your agent.
I know, but you were going to play at Celtic.
I know, but it wasn't like that. Honestly, I've never knocked on the manager's door. Never asked him for anything. Never.
You're a dying breed. I think the amount of Bolton fans are listening to this and absolutely loving it. I mean, you can see why.
You what, there's no wonder they fucking love you. I think they're going to love you even more after this.
No, but I would. I mean, I know it's a cliche and it's a thing, but you would play for nothing. Do you know what I mean? You would have. It's honestly.
Son, I can guarantee you, I would never play for nothing.
No, but
you're not even lying.
I know in theory, but it is. I mean, you feel privileged, don't you? And I think again.
But you know, sorry, John. You should have go. I'm worth financially. Nathan Blake's coming in. I've got this. Helped get this team promoted last year. Just make it worth me while.
I couldn't even tell you what Nathan was getting. I never asked anybody on nothing.
Not asked.
No.
It
never bothered me.
It's from your point of view.
But do you know something? I would. I mean, I've signed for people. Like I said, I've come in and signed for the boss without even asking them what I was getting.
Yeah. Would you do the same again?
Now, knowing now figures and that now, obviously now is.
I think I would. No, I couldn't have done it myself. I would have probably got somebody to do it for me. I would have probably got an agent, if I'm honest now, because I was never that way where I just felt cheeky asking. Do you know what I mean? It was like I felt I was lucky to probably be where I was in the first place. And
so do you think that's you sort of undervaluing yourself then?
I thought, 100%. I think so. Looking back, I'll probably very much
undervalue yourself. I mean,
very
if you're playing in what is the Premier League or even the Championship, and you're in a team getting promoted to the Premier League, and you're in the Premier League, surely you've got to be thinking, I'm here on merit. I'm here. I'm not looking at. I fucking deserve to be here.
I mean, put it this way. I still got paid what in my head was reasonably well, but yeah, I could have had a lot more. I know that.
For all the bad name that agents get, if you had an agent, it would have been a lot different. They'd be ringing you up going, John, we need to fucking
but
knock
then
on that door, man.
again, I didn't want all. I'll be honest with you. The thing that put me off agents was that I was happy where I was, and I didn't want all that carry on, going on. You know what I mean? Like,
But you could have probably still got even more where you were.
yes, yeah.
The key
Very
word
honest
there
with you, mate.
is-
Very honest.
The key word there is that you were happy, and it's.
I never wanted it to end. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them where it was. I mean, not just for me, for them teams. In when I was here, it was like the Roy the Rover stuff, really, because of
Riding
where
the crest of the wave.
Yeah.
You just wanted this wave
just from from where we had come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From like walking through the doors and where we were to where we were. You know what I mean? 3 or 4 years down the line, it was unbelievable. You know, the cup runs, just everything the boys had done, the town embracing everybody, the supporters. It was just meant to be, you know. And the dressing rooms we had. I mean, it was a joy. It was like, you tell me another job where you can't wait to get in the morning. I mean, we were
porn star.
but you can't. I mean, it was one of them. You know, where at Bundon Park we had a little head tennis thing outside. Myself and Owen Coyle were unbeaten. We had a queue, and the queue got bigger and it got earlier every morning. People trying to beat us, right? And we had everybody. I mean, it was like, we had everybody on toast. And they come in every day trying to beat us, and they couldn't beat us. Nobody could beat us. But it was brilliant because it all added to the dressing room and that camaraderie. It was fantastic. But it was just best time of my life, no doubt about that. You know,
See that,
best time.
It's refreshing. It's a unique mentality to have, and like you said, it was the best time of your life, and it's probably that mentality that's created it being the best time of your life. The fact that you wasn't bothered. If you were bothered, then you'd have been knocking on the door and falling out with people, and then probably have left Bolton, and then you would have lost those memories, and you'd have lost it being the best time of your life. So what value do you put on that for having that laid back route mentality?
I understand. I was just going down the route of just what you were worth, what you'd brought to the club. You know, I wasn't saying you should greedy, get us the best move like you can.
But
I just meant it was what I'm worth.
It's the ideal ideology to have in your mind, the way that you should think. But for that to work, the person at the other end has to think the same way. Oh, John's fucking got us here. Let's pay him what he's worth. It's the perfect ideology for everybody to think. But if the man who's paying the wages isn't thinking the same way,
but if the man who's paying the wages thinks, I tell you what, I've got John on this contract, right? He's worth this, but I can get this player, and I'll use that extra to get him in. And then even back then, it starts being a business type thing, doesn't it?
They're ripping the arse out of you, really.
But I think again, probably the way I thought was like, if you do well, you'll get rewarded. And I left it to them to reward, and you know, that's it. So then, like you said, it's a trust thing, isn't it? If the boss had still been at the football club, I'd have been well.
He looked after you.
Yeah, no question.
Who came in after him?
Colin stayed. Colin Todd was the assistant, and then he took over after
brought
that.
Andy in as well.
Andy came in.
We spoke about the scrap.
The eyes, mate. The eyes. I had him at Newport as assistant manager, and he just got the eyes. Just had the stare. Well,
tell you what,
like fucking Poland last week.
like stone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The what?
He's stare. Andy's never said a lot. Solid player, just like his dad. In the way he carried himself and his build, everything else, solid. Very hard. I mean, as a small for a centre half. But I tell you what, try and get round him. You know, he was strong as an ox. He was really put himself about. When he had Collymore on toast, he would have battered the shit out of Collymore that day.
were you playing that day?
Yeah, I was playing that day, and he got Collymore in the headlock, right? And it was like Collymore couldn't move. He had him, right? And he was like, whoa. And he dragged him about in the headlock. Nobody could split him. Nobody could get him off him. You know what I mean? It was one of them. They were all trying to pull him off. And no, he's had them. And he just walked about with them. You know what I mean? He was like that. And he was
like a little baby with
He would have battered them, no question.
So obviously, Bruce went. Todd came. Was that a big change when Colin Todd came?
Not so much. No, I mean Colin, similar style of football.
Yeah.
That first year, like I said, we probably gave the Premier League teams too much respect.
Yeah.
But then the following year, got relegated, went back down, played the good football again, and then got promotion straight away again. Do you know what I mean? So we were that kind of yo-yo club at that time.
Did you have a good relationship with Nathan Blake?
I had a fantastic relationship.
We talked
with
about
Nathan.
it last week with Kevin Campbell and Ian Wright and Pierre Van Hooydonk. Like, obviously, you two were on fire. Like 25 goals, 30 goals.
Well, the last season we got 54 between us.
Yeah.
I got 30, he got 24. I mean, I think we were a good mix, right? And
Football-wise,
off the park as well.
yeah.
Yeah, we shared a room obviously when we travelled and everything else. I think that's important. You know, I think two centre halves should share a room, you know, because again that's a relationship. Two centre mids, two strikers. You know, your right full back, your right mid. All the partnerships should share rooms, you know, because your relationship, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and when you've got a good relationship, you dig each other out. But Nathan, probably I came short, linked with the midfielders and everything into feet. Nathan was that out ball in behind because he had the power and the pace.
Yeah.
But I think both of us, we took such the same delight in me scoring by laying one on for him. Do you know what I mean? And it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, we felt we were a good mix.
Did Jerry mention Sasa Serchik coming in?
Yeah.
About him just being that character, and did he? What did he say? He come all shabby, and then the week after he had a. He had a
First
Ferrari.
wages.
Yeah. He came in, he was like Rabsy when he came in, Rabsy Nesbitt when he came in, right? The string vest and that on, a pair of jeans, right? And he came in, and he must have got his signing on for you, obviously, the following week or whatever. And then he appeared at the ground in one of the. Do you remember the Suzuki Vitaras?
Yeah.
Right, it was like a hairdresser's car, wasn't it? Right, it was a pink one with a white roof, brand new, right? And everybody's like, no way he's bought that. No way he's bought that. He must have been out with somebody and he's borrowed the motor or something like that. No, it was his motor. He bought it, right? And also when he came in, everybody was like, the first game he played and everyone else was like, Sasa, go for a drink after, we're all going out and that. Go for it. No drink, no drink. All right, then no worries. So like you said, the following week he's gone out, he's been up Norton Barry, he's shopping the town, bought all the gear, he's walked in, he's like John Travolta now walking in, you know, with his pink and white roof Suzuki Vitara.
Pink.
So that following week after he got paid, after him, no drink. We all went out, we're in Ritzy's, the nightclub in the town, standing up at the bar, usual top corner, on the left hand side, standing there in the corner. Next minute, Scott Green's gone like that. Oi, look, what? Across the bar, far wall. All you see is this guy running up and down, white shirt above his head, going like this, right? So, is that Sasa? No, it can't be. He doesn't drink. All right, no worries. That's Sasa, I'm telling you. Next week it was over. Hey! Oh, how you doing? Oh, I couldn't run up and down, no shirt on, nothing. He's got the white shirt off and he's swinging it above his head. I thought he said he didn't drink. He went, you know, oh, boy, was berserk. Absolutely berserk. Funny as, honest to God, funny. Because it was still broken English at that time, you know, but funny. And that was him. Drink. He could drink, all right. Don't worry.
Seen a lot of foreign lads who would come over, non-drinkers, left alcoholics.
Yeah. But he went on. He did really well. Moved to Villa, and obviously then what he retired to go and be a porn star, didn't he?
Yeah,
at one point.
So there were rumours, and then did he win Serbian Big Brother? And,
something like that. Yeah. But no, he was a character.
Retired to be a porn star. It don't get any better, does it? You know, when you think about it, it don't get any better.
Great career.
Were there who were the other main characters in that dressing room? Like we mentioned.
Were there ever any times when any of the managers lads really stepped out of line? I mean, obviously, not long ago the fucking Derby lads.
Yeah.
Were there any instances where the lads have gone
too far?
Too far? and it's like ended up being a big fucking club issue and a.
No, as such, I think. I mean, it was only ever a good drink, a bit of fun. There was nothing untoward as such. There was wee skirmishes and things like that. I mean, you always get the odd fight in training and stuff like that, and probably when you're out as well. But there was nothing major. I mean, I honestly can't remember anything that was. No, nothing really. And the like I said, dressed room by this time. You know what I mean? John Sheridan's in there. Jamie Pollock from Man City's in there.
Is that the guy who's
Postman now?
Bless him, he's ballooned.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
When we say he's ballooned, he's like that Donald Trump. like Donald Trump balloon.
Inflatable.
He's a big lad now.
Deliberate pause like that.
I think we've all put on a few ounces, John. You know
Yeah,
what
we
I mean?
have. Only been done for
No.
me.
Jamie, you know, I'll tell you what, Jamie, a smashing lad, you know what I mean? And when he played, couldn't half get about the park as well, and he was hard as nails. But I do know, I know what you mean. But no, again, lots of leaders in the dressing room. Nobody was ever allowed to really have a bad day. Because, I mean, the expectation was if you're having a bad day, work your nuts off. That's the least you
Minimum.
can do. Because, I mean,
Minimum.
you could be having a bad touch, your head might not be in the right place, whatever. Don't mean to say you can't work. Do you know what I mean? So you do a bit extra.
I see Chris Wilder getting interviewed, and people are raving about what he says. You know, but I think
Liverpool.
the comment, the whoever was doing the interview, he says, "Are you gonna? Can you? Obviously, you can commend your team for the amount of hard work." He went, "No, that's
the job."
And people are making a massive thing about it. It's like, oh, it's refreshing to see. It's been the same for 30 odd years. Well, been start of football.
Yeah.
But he's the only one brave enough to go out and say it, because
I think he's comfortable. I think the fact how well he's done is comfortable in the fact that
He can say
that. If
Yeah.
you were under pressure,
and get away with it.
Roy
know what I
Keane
mean?
said something similar, didn't he, about
He was offended.
You don't celebrate the postman dropping your flexes. It's his job.
I wouldn't be surprised if to the lads he's gone, lads, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Brilliant. He said, I'm going to go out there and say in front of the cameras that, you know, listen, unlucky. We should have gotten something from the game. I'm going to give you a bit of stick, but outstanding. And
Well, he's got them running through brick walls for him. It's as simple as that. And he's, like you said, he's refreshing, because it's like one of them. I think somebody said, "Oh, you did well to get a draw and all that." He went, "Well, that's the least we should get." You know, when you look
I
at
think
it.
you were disappointed that they'd not got at least a point against Liverpool, weren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
But that's what it were.
And he got applauded off the park, and he's saying, "Well, why are you applauding? We got beat." You know, right?
Yeah.
It's a fine line, though.
Yeah.
You know, I think the modern day player, you know, I think the
Soft as shit, aren't they?
pretty much.
Well,
No,
physically,
they are. I mean, I think
mentally
Yeah.
as much as anything, soft as shit.
I mean, I think you've got to look at the football clubs now. Football clubs are run by HR departments.
Yeah.
A manager now can't have a go at his players in the way that, you know, an F-bomb or whatever. They're scared. They're scared to say anything now, because you'll get a letter. You'll get a letter on Monday or Tuesday saying that was out of order, that, you know, because you've upset somebody, because you've swore at them.
Going back to the Bolton, obviously recruitment and signing good lads.
Yeah.
Was there ever anybody that came in and thought, and he's knocking down a peg or two?
He's a bit of a dick. With all due respect, when you're asking that question, right? They're signing for Bolton, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it's not like they're signing for Manchester United, if you know what I mean. I'm sure if you're signing for Bolton, you do your homework and you realise what the club is, the town is.
You can still walk. You can
still be a dick.
You can still walk in and think you're Billy Big Bollocks, no matter where you're going.
Especially when you get into that Premier League, you know that.
I'll be honest with you, they wouldn't have been allowed.
The lads just sort that out between
They
themselves.
sorted out.
Yeah.
We policed the dressing room. By that time, I mean, obviously, when Phil had gone, Goodney Bergson took over as skipper from Phil, and I was made club captain. And again, you've just got honest boys in there. Like I said, you know, the likes of John Sheridan and that comes in your dressing rooms. You know, these are boys that you'd happily go in the trenches with. Do you know what I mean? And at the same time, they like to go out, like a good drink, enjoyed themselves socially. But I tell you what, when it was time to work, they worked. You know, there was no shirkers, nobody cutting corners. It was you get back what you put in, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it was. I mean, it was a good dressing room. Good dressing room. I mean, when we went out, we all went out together. We all went out.
I can't remember Shez going to Bolton.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's mad, the amount of lads from that era have all said we had some dressing room.
Scott Sellers was another one that was there at the time.
Yeah.
So when it obviously you got promoted again, you and Nathan Blake on fire, and then time to move on.
Yeah.
Was that Colin Todd?
Yep.
And you've just scored. How many did you say? 30.
Got 30 that season, and there was two ways of looking at it, and it was partly my own fault in a way. The following year was the World Cup, '98 World Cup, which I'd played in all the qualifying games, and Colin had pulled me aside pre-season and said to me I was going to be a squad player, which hurt.
Yeah.
More than anything, to be honest with you, because it wasn't a case of, well, like, you know, listen, you're going to have to work for your place this season, or you're going to have to, put a bit more in it, or whatever. It was a case of you're a squad player now.
How old were you?
34. But they had just signed Dean Holdsworth, $3.5 million. Signed Peter Beardsley.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I thought, he's going to play them. And you've still got Blakey in the mix as well. Do you know what I mean?
He's got to play Holdsworth at $3.5 million.
He's got to, well, for us, you know, that's a big statement. and you're not taking Peter Beardsley through the door without saying, I'm not saying you're guaranteed a place, but he's going to play him.
He's going to play.
So I'm looking at that now and I'm thinking, it's not really in my favour, you know what I mean? Because the World Cup next year, I was also struggling pre-season with an Achilles problem. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, don't know. A couple of teams come in. Sunderland come in, Man City made an inquiry, and Bradford come in. And straight away I said, no, Bradford, no chance.
Is this the first time in your career that you're starting to think about yourself?
No, I was thinking about the World Cup. I wasn't thinking about
It's
myself.
still about yourself, isn't it?
You know, like, you're not thinking about
playing again.
You're not thinking about Bolton. You're thinking, I need to move to
last
play
opportunity
to get into the World Cup.
Last opportunity. I mean, there's no way I would ever be involved in a campaign again with Scotland.
Yeah.
This was it. And I'm thinking, right. And I'll be honest with you, it was like Colin wanted me to go anyway. And I don't think publicly he could have come out and said, we're getting rid of him.
Yeah.
So really I played into their hands to a certain degree in that side. But I was just desperate to play. So came out, got a phone call this day, and it was like to go and talk to Bradford. And I was like, no chance. Absolutely no chance. Chris Kamara was the manager.
What league were Bradford Premier League then?
Championship. Went and met them. The club told me they were in and everything else. The club gave me permission to go and meet them. Went and spoke to them, and I was like, but Cammy was unbelievable, you know what I mean? Cammy, like,
I can imagine it was some meeting like
Cammy was like, no, you've got to come, you've got to come, you've got to play, you know what I mean? And I was like, but then I'm thinking, well, he wants me to play, do you know what I mean? And now, am I going to play, am I not going to play? He wants me.
You wanted.
And it was, anyway, couple of days later.
At this point, even if you play in the Championship, it's still good enough to get in the Scotland squad.
Yeah.
Where was Sunderland at this point? Sunderland and Man City, were they in the same league?
In the same league.
Did you speak to them?
I briefly spoke to Sunderland, but it never went anywhere. And Man City, I think it was a case of, it ended up actually, Uwe Rosler was on about moving to Sunderland, and if that had gone through, then Man City would have been on. So that was dependent.
Right.
That meant waiting then, innit? No guarantees.
But Cammy, again, a couple of days later, went back through, ended up signing. But I just had a bad feeling straight away. I just did. I mean, it wasn't, as much as Cammy was infectious and Cammy was a great guy and everything else, the actual club and the place itself, it just, I don't know. I went there probably in the wrong frame of mind. Do you know what I mean? In my head I was telling myself I had to do it to play.
Yeah.
But
Are you saying you were happy, settled?
So do you think that could have been Bradford, Sunderland, or any club really?
Yeah.
Because you didn't really want to leave Bolton.
No. And the previous year to that, the chairman and everyone else had pulled me in and said, when I finished playing, I had a coaching job and this, and I had a job, basically a job for life.
Yeah.
But again, you could sit there, and I could have sat there and took my money. I could have sat there and just not done anything. But you want to play, don't you? Simple as. And
even more so if you get into sort of 34.
Well, that's it. And
Chance to play
the World Cup.
yeah.
Did you play in the World Cup? Did you get in the squad?
I was going to say to you. So that Friday, I'm sitting on the bus, right? Friday morning, and it's the first time I'd met the players. I trained that morning before we got on the bus. It was the place Swindon. So I collected all my gear that morning, trained, and then I got my travelling gear and all that to put on, right? And I put on the gear. That colour, that yellow and burgundy.
You really didn't like Bradford, did you?
I've put this on, right?
If you're trying to think of if you're on the audio and you're thinking about the colour, just look at my team. Like yellow and burgundy colours, just off white, aren't they?
But yeah, I've put this on, and I find myself sitting on the bus, and I'm looking at myself with this tracker, and I'm thinking, what have I done? I mean, seriously, what have I done? And then goes down there, plays the game, plays that season. Achilles is getting worse by the week.
And you're not enjoying it at all?
No.
Not the football,
it's not just the kit.
not the lads.
No. And this is, listen, no fault of anybody's. The club were fantastic to me. The people there were fantastic. The players were fantastic. Just no heart.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
through
any intention. Honest to God, it wasn't that. The Achilles is getting worse as we go on. It got towards the end of the season, and I'd been taking anti-inflammatories all season just to play. I'd been going out half an hour before everybody else in the morning to try and loosen it off to be able to train. I'd also been seeing a surgeon down here that was putting cortisone into it, which now looking back on I shouldn't have. And what happened was it was a game against Man City at Valley Parade. Normally I'd gone out, and as the game gone on, it got a bit better, and I was, you know what I mean, and that was fine. Well, this actually went out, and it got worse and worse and worse. It got to just before half time, and I couldn't walk. And I came off half time, and I said to him, that's where I'm done, finished. Went to see the doctor, and I'd tore it.
Your Achilles?
Yeah, Achilles, I'd tore it inside. I had an operation that week. And what he had said was, because I'd been getting cortisone and it had calcified the tendons, so it just tore. So had the op. So that was a World Cup done anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about April time. So it was done, and that was it really. So had the time out, recovered from that, started back following season, started back training. They sent me out on a road run, right? Cobbled fucking stones, everything else, right? Done the same again, exact same place, same tear, same place, everything else, done that. We're on this 10-mile run, and the surgeon went berserk, you know what I mean, saying, what are you doing out running on roads and everything else, like when you've had the injury you've had. So he said he wouldn't operate on it again because it was the same place and everything else. He said it would just have to heal itself, which is basically it was going to be 9 months. Well, that was me done. So
you're 34, 35, going into 36.
Yeah.
Did you know when they said you're going to do this run? Did you not think?
No, I
It's just back then. I suppose you do.
I think knowing John's personality, I think he just thought I'll get on with it.
Yeah.
you just do it.
See, I won't.
You just do it, and then you know it's not right, but you do it.
Yeah.
And it's like the other thing as well is because if you don't do it and you kick up and all that, who's Billy Big Balls he is and all that. Do you know what I mean?
See, I like last 4 years of my career, because of the operation I had on my knees. If snow, ice, we're training inside or on 3G. I'm not training. I'll see a gym. I'm going to gym.
Yeah.
But the medical side of it back then wouldn't have been as strong. I bet the physio agreed with you and probably encouraged you. But back then.
Oh yeah, definitely. That weren't me being a dick. You know what I mean? Look. If I train on AstroTurf now, right, I'll not be able to walk for 3 days. You know what I mean? That's not me being a dick.
Looking after your own best interest.
Yeah, but which is ultimately in the best interest of the club.
Yeah.
Well, some might think fucking not, right? But you've got to look after yourself from Monday to Friday to play on a Saturday. Whatever you need to do.
Well, when I did it again, I was going to be out for basically a year. Right, I had 3 years left in the contract still to go, by the way. And the chairman asked to see me, so I went and seen him. He goes, "What would it take for you to leave?" Right. So I was like, "That's just whatever," because I felt guilty. You know what I mean? No, because
don't worry about it.
I ended up. He gave me 6 months' money. That's fact. He gave me 6 months' money. He says, "What about that?" I says, "Whatever," because I felt guilty because they never got value for money from me. Do you know what I mean? And
I'm wanting at least 24. 24 months and me 36. 100%.
Yeah. So he gave me 6 months, and that was it.
Die and breed, John.
No,
honestly.
But I just felt guilty. Do you know what I mean? Because they didn't get any value from me at all.
So that were you.
Well,
6 months when you retired.
Well, I'd finished then, and again, didn't do much really. Even if I tried to play golf, I couldn't walk for 2 days after a game of golf. But I got a phone call out of the blue about towards the end of that season, about 9 months later, and I wasn't too bad actually. It was Andy at Oldham. Head's gone. Andy Ritchie. Bloody head's gone there. Andy Ritchie phoned me up and says, "John, how are you doing? What are you doing with yourself?" I says, "Nothing, Andy." He says, "John, do you know fancy coming in and seeing how it is?" He says, "Just come in and tickle it and see how you go." And I says, "All right, no worries." So I went in and started with it was sore and everything else. And John Sheridan was at the club this time. So went in, done a bit, and it got a bit better and a bit better. And you know yourself, once you get the taste of it again, sort of thing, you know. So I ended up signing. I signed for them. I signed at the start of the following season, so I signed for a year, and did all right. Did all right. It got to. I had to look after myself during the week because if I'd played and everything else, you know, Mondays were no good. You know, I had to go in and just have a bath and a light session or whatever.
White wine and soda.
Well, not quite at that level yet, but no, but just you had to take care of yourself more. It was more a recovery thing rather than, and you had to leave yourself time to recover from training and stuff like that. So Andy was brilliant with me. I mean, Andy just says, "Look, you do what you need to do," and you know what I mean. He was absolutely top notch with me. So played a few games. We got to Christmas time. It was about the 20th, 22nd of December. We had a game against Brentford. It was on Sky, and played in that. Scored. Pitch was terrible. Went into extra time. It was a cup game. Into extra time. Pitch was like I come off. I couldn't walk. Couldn't walk for about 4 days after that. And I said to Andy, "That's me done." And that was me finished. I just knew then. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them.
So your body told you.
There was I couldn't recover. Do you know, if it was a midweek game, I couldn't play the midweek game. If I played on a Saturday and there was a game on the Tuesday, I wouldn't be ready by Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then if I played on the Tuesday, say I wouldn't be ready for the Saturday. And it was mixing it wasn't doing him any favours because it meant you would chop change. Do you know what I mean?
So lads would get left out of the team, be raging, but you're in the team on Tuesday.
It's hard, you know, and he was so good to me. Andy was, honest to God, brilliant with me. So I just said to him, "Andy, listen, I'm done." So that's when I finished. That was them.
How did you find it personally? Just from what you've been saying.
Imagine having a good Christmas, by the way. If it was 22nd December, you think, "Fucking hell, I can have a couple of extra puddings on my Christmas dinner here."
But of someone who's just said, "I just want to play. I just want to play." Was it tough?
Yeah. I mean, that's your whole life gone. You know, and it's extreme to say it, but it's when you look at it, you realise quite quickly as well, as a football player, when you're playing, you're part of everything. Do you know what I mean? You seem to be like, anything's going on, you get invited, you get this, get that. It doesn't take long when you're not playing to sort of quickly you look around, all of a sudden there's nobody there.
You get forgotten about.
You know, and it's not just that. You know, there's people you think probably that were mates, or they weren't ever truly mates. They were hangers on. You know, and it's a different world. You know, you come from a world where most of the stuff you do gets done for you, and all of a sudden now you've got to do it all
Well, you're half robots, aren't you?
Yeah, you're told where to be at, what time, what to wear.
Half night, yeah.
You know, and
Even
all of
told
us.
when you can have a fucking shave,
Pretty much, yeah,
Really?
pretty much. And then all of a sudden, now you look behind you, there's nobody.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard. And I don't think people just look at footballers and they go, well, they've earned enough money, they can go and do this or they're going to do that. They don't realise, you know what I mean, that they've just lost their heart and soul.
When you think about it, even from being 5-year-old, you've got a structure in your life, haven't you? School.
Yeah.
You're
And then
there at
straight
that
from
time,
school.
you're there at that time. You go to football, you're there at that time, you're there at that time. So from 5 to 35, if you're lucky, 36, 8, whatever,
Yeah.
you've got a structure in your life. And suddenly that structure is just fucking gone like that.
I think as well we've had 40 plus guests on. I think you can tell how much you love football. More, probably, I'm going to say more than anybody that we've had on. You know,
agree
your
with
desire to play,
I'd agree with that.
the sacrifices you made financially as much as anything. I think I can imagine it was tough for you to all of a sudden, like you say, there's nobody behind you.
I don't think I've never got over it, to be honest with you. Yeah, and it's not just you can say about the adulation and all that. It's not that. It's just playing, and it's been in that dressing room, and it's a special place.
It's the dressing room for me.
It's a special place.
It's not even so much the playing for me, it's the dressing room. I mean, the only thing I miss is the dressing room. That's the only thing that I miss. And fortunately, I get that crack here.
Yeah.
So, the last day of the month and all when you get paid, I miss it. Any chance was getting fucking paid for this shift or what?
But do you know, it's like, even after I finished playing, I got an opportunity to go out to America, you know, and initially it was as a player coach, but in my head I knew I'm not going to be able to play. Do you know what I mean? But I'll do it. Get the wife and kids, get everybody out, on we go.
Whereabouts?
Go to America, Cincinnati. So away we go. And it was just, again, it was that lure of maybe being able to play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Not so much even the coaching, but
I'd go anywhere.
Aye.
Anywhere. I mean, even now, if I got a phone call tomorrow saying, oh, something's going on here, I'd go. I would. It's hard to explain at times, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But it just would.
How did it work out in America, Doc?
Well, I went out in 2000. Just after I'd finished, I went out and as a player coach to the Cincinnati Riverhawks, and it was a shambles. Went out there.
Casey Keller were in fucking
No, hey, I think I've got something with rogue owners. It was the owner. The owner was Italian, right? And he was like, he imported olive oil from Italy, obviously, right? And I think he was a bit of a gangster or whatever it was, but never paid us. So again, I'd signed a 3-year contract going out there with all these intentions. I was going to stay there, I was going to buy a house and all sorts. Goes out there. So now I'm there 4 months. I've still not been paid a penny, right?
Be all right. He'll come.
But
I will let him off.
No, it was a bit different out there. You know what I mean? Because the boys kind of, because I came from over here, the boys kind of looked up to me. Do you know what I mean? So I took upon myself to go in and say, now you boys have got to get paid. Do you know what I mean? And I went in.
Fair enough.
I went in and I said, no, these boys have got to get paid. They're not going to play. So there was this time we were leaving Cincinnati to go and play in Minnesota. And it was like a 17-hour bus ride, by the way.
Did they not fly then?
Couldn't pay our wages. I think we're going to fly. So, and it was like an old school bus. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't no
Yellow.
A yellow. Yeah, it was. Honestly, God, it was one of them.
Like fucking police academy.
It's exactly what it was like, right? And I was trying to explain to people here, and they were all right, good one. Honest to God, 17-hour bus ride, right? So before they got on it, I said, the boys ain't going. You don't pay them, they're not getting on. And he was like, So anyway, an hour later, they appeared, right? He appeared with fistfuls of money, right? And he started shelling out money to everybody, like all that. And he got to me, and he was like, he put it in an envelope, right? And he turned around and he went, and you can fuck off, there's no point in you coming back. And so I didn't even get on the bus. But because I had gone up to him,
You'd instigated
it was me.
the revolt. You're at
so-
the front of that protest again.
So
Honestly, Mandela's got fuck off.
so that was it. Off they went, and then, so that's me finished. So then I said to the missus and I said, well, we've got a 3-year visa here. What do we do? Do I stay? Do I, whatever? But just we thought we'd go, I don't know, on a tour. So I bought one of these RV things, right, and we've got the kids and all, and then just started going round America, right?
They're Flanders, Simpsons.
So we had a right good tour and everything with everyone else, but anyway, not so long after that, my mum got breast cancer, and so she was like, do you know what I mean? So we made the decision going home. So gladly, anyway, came home. A year later, I lost my mum. So we're glad we came back because at least we got to see her regular and everything else. But 2 years later, the club had, by this time in Cincinnati, had changed hands. New people had got it, and they phoned me up, asked me to go back out again. And I went out 2003, and I was there 9 years.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only came home in 2012. So I was out there 9 years.
You took all the family back over?
Yeah. Everybody came back over again. So, I mean, again, obviously, wife, kids and all that. You know what I mean? Right, Jippos, let's go. We're off again.
Fire the RV back up.
Get the silver caravan out. We're off again. But no, the 9 probably best family years that you could ever have.
Everybody just loved living in America and
the lifestyle, everything about it. I mean, my 3 youngest. I've got 5 kids. I've got 4 boys and a girl. My 3 youngest went through the school system out there. So all their pals are out there.
American.
They go out every summer. Like for 4 to 6 weeks every summer, they go out there and see all their pals and that.
I'll have to try and get on that trip, Johnny.
So, Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati kid. But fantastic place. Really enjoyed it. Was running an academy out there. Ran the boys' side of an academy, as well as I was assistant manager to the senior team. So
even the fact that you've had that first experience of the place, which was obviously
terrible,
yep.
And you've still gone back. It's like,
but it was for the better. You had like you say, you had a great 9 years.
It worked out incredible. Yeah. But even like, if you went to a club and it was shit, right? And then you went somewhere else, and then 3 years later they said,
he's not going to holiday home in Bradford anyway.
Are you coming back? Yeah, fuck it, I'll try it again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But obviously that were another scenario where it worked out for the best, really.
Listen, 9 fantastic years. The only downside was on the visa you were on out there, you had to renew every 2 years. And because my boys were getting older, there was like, once you hit 21 out there, you're an adult. They can't be on your visa anymore.
So they've got to apply for their own.
And they're not going to get their own out there because they're just not, you know what I mean? So they were coming home one by one.
Yeah.
And one by one the boys came home, and it ended up just being my wife, my daughter and myself out there.
How long for?
Well, we were there the last year, just the 3 of us.
And you're losing that good family time.
Well, it starts to be a conflict, doesn't it? It starts really.
It's not what it was.
No, it got to the stage where just one day we're sitting there at dinner, and them 2 are talking about dresses and shopping and all that, and I said, I'm going home. I miss the boys. I miss football. I'm going home. Proper football. I said, I'm going home. And they went, yeah, right, good one. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was one of the, it was like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Flicking through catalogue.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, of course.
That's talking shit.
Yeah, usual. So that was better, you know what I mean? At least I wasn't such a bad guy after all, because I'd been getting abused, my wife and my daughter, for saying I'm coming back. I had something to come back to.
Yeah.
So, and it went in, had a board meeting where the club I was at, resigned, told them my reasons. They weren't happy. They wanted me to stay. They actually offered me more money to stay, and a lot more than all.
Don't surprise me.
A lot more.
Fuck off. Yeah. And Hank sat there with a fucking cocktail stick.
Do you know, when I went into that club, there was 32 teams in the academy what I was running, and we ended up, when I left, there was 207 teams. We amalgamated 3 clubs altogether.
So surely you must take pride in that yourself.
It was, honestly, I mean, it's run as a business out there. I mean, kids football is frightening. You know, it's run properly, it's got a board, it's run, they pay fortunes. American parents will pay any amount of money if they think their kids are getting an opportunity. And the end goal is to send them to college. A college scholarship is the end goal for them. Now, the elite side of the programme, it meant like all the big tournaments all over the country. And that's which was great for us, because we got to go everywhere and anywhere. You know, Vegas, Orlando, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, you name it, Carolinas. You had to go to the big tournaments because that's where all the college coaches are.
Yeah.
And if you miss out on them, then your kid's not going to get a scholarship. So they were averaging $10,000 on travel a season. $10,000, right? The fees alone just for the kids were $2,000 each for the elite side. So that's the amount of money they're spending out there.
It's frightening.
You know, each of our teams, the ones that travel to the tournaments, 3 sets of kit, travel track suits, rain jackets. I mean, even all Adidas. We had a multi-million contract with Adidas. It was scary how
you end up with fucking Casey Keller.
But is it scary out there? You know what I mean? It's just everything's run at a different scale and a different level.
It's like, well, it's exactly the same when you go for something to eat over there, isn't it? It's always a
Bigger
bigger
and
fucking
better.
pot.
Bigger,
Always a bigger
yeah,
fucking
as much
pot
as
than
you
what
can.
get here, innit?
And by the way, the couple of ounces I have put on is down to America. Yeah.
So what are you doing now, John? Are you back?
Well, since I came back, I've had various roles. Obviously, Owen. I mean, I never even said that, did I? I was coming back to work for Owen. I resigned on the Wednesday. Owen got sacked on the Sunday. So I didn't have anything to come back to. You know what I mean? It turned very quickly. I was not a bad guy, then I was back to being the bad guy. So yeah, I'd committed to coming back, and to be honest, I wouldn't have changed my mind then. Yeah. I was coming back. But Owen from there got a job at Wigan. I went in there as chief scout at Wigan. I also worked with him at Blackburn as well. And I also went up to Ross County. I was head of recruitment up at Ross County in the Scottish Premier League.
You didn't scout him at Blackburn, did you?
He knows a player.
Have you ever known anybody been at a football club for 2 years and never scored 1 goal?
John, you're made for this after dinner stuff, mate. Repeating your same jokes every single week. Do you think it works for you?
Is that every week?
I was going to get one little dig in. Little dig in.
No, I'm sure there was difficult circumstances.
It was all kinds. Don't get us started.
You know yourself. But no, so that's been it really. And now grandkids are keeping me busy at the minute.
You must be like over the moon that Bolton are getting sort of straightened out. You know what I mean?
Delighted, John. I really am. I mean, it's the times, you know, that this town and these people have been through due to the fact that, you know, the football club's in the wrong hands. It's been disgusting in what's happened, you know, and you know, ongoing. Just glad now that, you know, we've got people that have come in. No, they're not awash with money. You know, that's quite evident. They're going to have to budget, and they're going to have to, you know. I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Because all of a sudden, our football club now is going to be structured the right way. They're good business people with a good business reputation, but we're going to have to live within our means, and we haven't done that for our best part of 20 years.
Well, I think the club actually overachieved for a lot of years, I would say, wasn't it? You know, like the times when they were sort of top, getting into Europe and stuff like that. We all due respect, a team like Bolton in a town like Bolton were probably overachieving, I think, weren't they? Well,
yeah, I mean, but you got to remember there was a fantastic manager. Big Sam had them going, you know, had them running through brick walls. Fantastic eye for a player. He was bringing in players that were deemed to be on the scrap heap. You know, I mean, JJ Okocha, Yorkie F, you know, World Cup winners coming in, Campo, Hierro.
Man, when you
think
when you
still
go
the second greatest player of all time.
When you go through
Campo,
Nicholas,
fuck off. It's all about McGinlay.
Nicholas and Elka. Do you know what I mean? When you see the players, and in many ways we've been spoilt by what we've been able to see.
I think that's the point that I was trying to
European runs. You know, going over to Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid, and you know, unbelievable. But there's a downside to that, and I think, you know, we've paid the price for that. You know, because it's been the financial side's been an ongoing thing for a long time, but we have witnessed it. You know,
can't take that away.
You can't take that away. No, and again, where we are now, we've been there before. You know, hopefully now we've got good people. I know we have. We've got good people that are running the football.
You just
club.
take a steady 5 years, won't you?
I think now, you know, we have to show patience, and the Bolton fans are not renowned for showing patience, but I think they're just glad to see a team on the park now, because we came so close to losing a lot.
Especially when you're obviously buried, not too far down the road.
That's a disgrace what's happened there, I'm telling you now. I mean, it's just sad. I mean, taking all rivalry aside, we're football people.
Yep.
And we don't want to see bad or people losing their football clubs. Yeah, we'll shout at each other when we play and we'll have a go and bit of banter here and there, but nobody should be losing their
Tragic,
football club.
really, isn't it?
Disgrace.
Tragic.
We better.
Cool, well, cheers, John.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. It's
thank
been
you
an
very
honour.
Enjoyed that.
Absolute
Thanks
honour.
very much.
It's been worth. It'll definitely worth the 8 months of you saying I'm getting John McGinlay on. I'm getting John McGinlay on. It's coming on. It's coming on. But no, thank you very much. Right.
So did you always do it in here?
First time. We've done some stuff here, right? It depends where everybody is.
Got you. Yeah.